Walker Buehler on the mound for the Pods. In the Lake Show, pick up a win over the Curryless Warriors last night. They'll be back again for the penultimate game of the regular season against the Suns. Phoenix is a 2.5-point favorite in Los Angeles. You can hear that game on San Diego Sports 760. Choose one of Wendy's new Biggie deals at $4, $6, and $8. Pick one of the new Biggie deals you're craving for a pretty Biggie deal. Got to be Wendy's. U.S. price participation may vary.
Start off easy. Start with the obvious.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Couldn't be better.
Who's in the mood for walking? Extra inning win at Petco for the Padres. Who's in the running for the green jacket? And SDFC's back at Snapdragon Stadium versus Minnesota. Plus,
Lakers Warriors. Now, this just came out a few minutes ago. The line has actually not moved. So we're going to go with the point total, 222.5. Give us the under.
so close I can taste it.
I don't see Miami being able to hang with them. They're such an offensive-minded team. I think Toronto covers -3.5. I like the Sixers plus 6.5.
Oh, not a chance in hell.
Getting ready for the weekend from the San Diego Sports 760 studios in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Friday. What's happening, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Sammy will keep the party going then, go along with Sammy, a brand new show. A couple of guests coming up today. Luca Bombino from SDFC is going to jump on to help us preview tomorrow night's action when they got Minnesota United. You'll hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 beginning at 7 o'clock. Luca Bombino, 19 years old, already a star with SDFC. Can't wait to get to meet Luca for the first time. We'll do that coming up at 1:15. And then I do know that at the end of the show today, our studio will be infiltrated. We will be ransacked by smelly grown men named Rich Ornberger and Travis Dale, who are going to have to stay in the studio a little longer today because Bar Cart Friday might have gotten a little out of hand this morning. I stayed very well behaved. Can't say the same for everybody on the show. So you will hear from Big Rich, TD, Fletch, Cat coming up at about 1:45.
Will they be sober by the time?
Sammy, I'm not even joking right now. Probably not. They are both in not our office taking a nap. Like they're
responsible. They're not drinking and driving.
We had some red wine this morning. The bottles got poured a little bit. Look, I had maybe a glass and a half of wine and there were 4 bottles that were gone. So
wow,
that should tell you everything you need to know about what went down this morning. And that whole thing's up on YouTube at Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. You can find it there. But you should stay right here at San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube because we got 2 hours of excellence coming your way. We are going to start with the Padres, who last night, how about that, man? A game against the Rockies that was boring, insane. The extra innings matchup between San Diego and Colorado finished in spectacular fashion. So to set the table a little bit, 2 intentional walks in a row from Colorado. They walk Fernando Tatis Jr., they walk Manny Machado, and Xander Bogaerts gets up to the plate. Take it away, Don Orsillo.
Ball in a deep left field. It's back. Slam Diego to walk it off. Bogey goes boom into a sea of San Diegans.
Don Orsillo using Game 7 of the NLCS call here on April 10th. Don Orsillo in postseason form already. It was an amazing moment, man. I do have the question that's been rattling around in my brain since that happened, since last night. Would there be anything more satisfying in sports than to have 2 guys in front of you intentionally walk to purposefully get to you? That's what the Rockies did last night. Disrespecting Xander Bogaerts a little bit, and all he does is turn around and spin on one and send it all the way out to left field to walk it off. I got to imagine that's got to be one of the most gratifying things in sports.
It was cool too because, and it's not excusing Xander Bogaerts, a lot of the criticism that's been put upon him has come from him and his lack of production given his contract. But it was cool to see him get it because last year, remember he had that nice series up in LA against the Dodgers and was decent down the stretch there. And he's always kind of been public enemy number 1 because so many of the Padres' problems you look to with the amount of money he makes and goes, if only the Padres had Xander Bogaerts' contract back, they would be able to have another elite starting pitcher or kind of fill out the rest of the lineup a little bit. But it was cool seeing him finally kind of have a signature moment with the Padres. And I was watching the game, and it felt like I was like, oh, we're going to have to come on here and talk about the lack of bats and the Rockies at home, pushing the Padres, having an ugly loss, again, kind of continuing the losing streak at home, and then Xander to kind of shut all that up and kind of at least settle things down and hopefully head into the weekend. And hopefully that was the Rockies' best shot. Obviously, there's 3 more games left, but really impressive. It was cool. It was cool Xander had his signature moment as a Padre, because he certainly hasn't had too many up until this point.
Well, there was another Padre who came through with heroics that, correct me if I'm wrong, Sammy, but everybody's been panning all year long. And we had this conversation. This was after the first series of the season, I think. And everybody was saying, Luis Campusano doesn't even deserve a roster spot. Get him off the team. And I'm like, if Luis Campusano, if the backup catcher is actually the problem you have with the Padres team, you could probably just kick rocks, because he's not the biggest problem with the team. Luis Campusano was the hero before the hero last night. The double he hit to tie up the game, some of the plays he made on defense, that tag he put down, Luis Campusano maybe had his best game of his career last night, and the Padres don't win without him. It's just kind of as simple as that. So congratulations to 2 Padres who I think have fielded a lot of disrespect over the years, Luis Campusano and Xander Bogaerts. Now, I'm not saying it's not deserved, by the way. And Sammy, I thought you were right on the head about that. Like, Xander deserves a lot of the criticism he's gotten. Luis Campusano, I don't even know if I can say that. The dude's making nothing, and he's like a backup catcher again. But he comes through in a huge moment for the Padres last night, and just a wildly impressive night. Now, it was against the Rockies, so we could probably pump the brakes a little bit. I understand the Rockies were 6-6 coming into the game. They were on a 4-game heater. That's great. Maybe the Rockies have turned some sort of corner, but no one's expecting you to be facing the Rockies in the postseason. So while we can celebrate what happened last night, and the crowd was amazing, and it was so cool to see, and for once it was like a big moment where Xander Bogaerts comes through, I will just say it was against the Rockies, so we could pipe down a little bit.
Well, it's very fair. Like, we can 2 different things can be true. We can be excited about the walk-off and really happy for the Pods that they were that they were able to come through and win the game last night. But it is like that should be expected. They should be beating the Rockies on their home park. They should win 3 or 4, if not a sweep. I mean, anything, if they close out this weekend going 1-2 the rest of the weekend after having that kind of performance, getting through the Rockies bullpen, that's disappointing. But hopefully you carry this through. And again, you kind of right the ship a little bit, because it's been such a up and down start to the year. With the first week, we're looking really ugly, wondering what does this team look like. Give them credit for going on the road and kind of righting the ship. You have an electric game last night. Can you focus and carry that into the weekend? Because, if they end up losing tonight, although it's an electric moment, we'll point to the Xander Bogaerts home run, and it's a great clip, and it's a great call from Don Orsillo. They're still 1-1. You need to go take care of the Rockies this weekend. 3 or 4 at the bare minimum. Go for the sweep, and then you're going into the Mariners, a feisty Angels team next week, where you can kind of get after them. But yeah, it's exciting. I'm glad that at least, although the Padres still have flaws, and I'm not saying they're without them, we're at least looking at them right now and going, okay, this is some of the Padre team that we're used to seeing, because the first week was just not a team that I don't think any of us that watch the team night in, night out were familiar with the last few seasons.
All right, our buddy Tyler on YouTube saying LFGSD. Yeah, man, it's where is it Jorge Alfaro? Was that his name? I think that was his name. Where is he when you need him on the mic? How about Rich saying, I knew Xander would get a fly ball at least. I got great video of it too. It's awesome. Rich, DM that video over. I'd love to see it, man. And Jay Silves on YouTube saying Campy starting to look like 2023 Campy. Look, man, the potential is still there with Luis Campusano. Like, everything we said about him 2 or 3 years ago still exists. We just need to see it on a more regular basis. All right, Don Orsillo's call was great. I'll tell you what might have been even better, and that was the call from the Colorado Rockies. Take a listen to this. This is right before Xander Bogaerts hits the hit. Take a listen.
Well, he does get some rollover ground balls. Trying to get one here. Not going to happen. In fact, this is going to be a walk-off grand slam.
So if you didn't hear it, he says, yeah, this pitcher, he's working down in the zone. He's throwing a lot of off-speed pitches, and he's going to get a lot of roll me over ground balls. And then, bam, not going to happen. I love it. The best one ever was Daniel Camarena when he came in and hit a grand slam. The relief pitcher for the Padres, by the way, off of Max Scherzer. And the broadcast team just said, are you kidding me? Like, is that actually happening right now?
What do you even say to that?
I don't know. When a relief pitcher comes in a pinch hitting situation, or no, he just hit for himself, and the Padres didn't have enough bench pieces to get a pinch hitter in. And Daniel Camarena, it's a grand slam off of Max Scherzer, one of the best pitchers to ever play the game. There's nothing to say about it. But Xander Bogaerts last night, he had his moment. That's the right way of saying it. He's been lacking a Padres moment, and he had his moment. All right, Sammy, let's get to the big three here. YouTube is open at San Diego Sports 760. Text line will be open. I haven't opened it yet. 70470. Start your message with the word team. But this is when Sammy rips through the top stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
All right, we got a lot going on. In fact, I haven't even mentioned the Masters once, but it's getting hot and heavy out in Augusta. Sammy, what's up?
That's what we're getting to. So currently right now, Rory is in the lead, the 2-shot lead over Justin Rose and Burns, currently 7 under. If Rory wins this, where it goes back-to-back at the Masters, where does he rank all time?
Rory's already one of the greatest golfers we've ever seen play the game. If he goes back-to-back at the Masters, which is not something that's easy to do, I don't know that you can immediately just put him into the conversation with Jack and Tiger. I don't think it's as simple as that. But if he goes on a run here where the next 4 or 5 years, Rory is either top 5 or winning maybe 3 out of the next 5, very different conversation. Again, I don't think he can touch Tiger based on where he's at in his his age. But he is all the way up there right now, man. If he can hold on, he's playing amazing golf right now. And he just looks so loose and free out at Augusta. It seems like he's really figured something out.
Right. Jack and Tiger, that's a whole different conversation. But I think what it does.
Although, as we're speaking, I think he just got a double bogey. So,
all right, we're going to pretend that didn't happen.
Congrats, Rory.
But Rory, if he does win, because so much conversation about, is Scotty just going to dominate for the foreseeable future? Because it looked like for a minute there before Rory won the Masters, was Rory kind of on the downturn of his career, hadn't won a major in a long time, was consistently finishing second in third in kind of heartbreaking fashion. I think what it does is set up a little bit of a Tiger Phil situation where you have Rory and Scotty, and everyone kind of anointed that Scotty was just going to be the guy for the next decade. And Scotty really, the only guy that could challenge was Rory, but he was on the downturn. Now Rory wins back-to-back Masters, and it's not like Scotty Scheffler's been playing the best golf this year. Now, he just had a kid, missed a month on the tour, but even earlier on, he was having some problems getting off the hot starts. I think it creates a fun little big-time matchup at every major we get between Rory and Scotty, which we kind of already have. It just puts even more stakes on it because Rory now, if he were to go back-to-back, would really be able to cement himself in that legacy.
Yeah, the only problem with that is like when it was Tiger and Phil, and you talk about the heyday where they're kind of going back and forth, they were in their late 20s, early 30s. You know what I mean? Like Rory's 36 at this point, while Scotty Scheffler, I think he's still 29. He's about to turn 30. I don't know that there's the same runway that you had with Tiger and Phil. So that's the challenging part of it. But, man, it is going to be awesome if those two stay at the top of the game like they're at right now. All right, what's next?
All right, Matt Miller releases all the prospects in the NFL draft. He ranked them 1 to 482. Ranked Jeremiah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame, the number 1 prospect in the draft, even over Fernando Mendoza. In today's NFL, though, do we still undervalue running backs kind of as a collective?
Potentially, but I don't think it's wrong. Like, I think when you're looking at Fernando Mendoza, you're looking at somebody who could be part of and lead a billion-dollar or multi-billion-dollar organization for the better part of the next 2 decades. You know what I mean? And it could be 15 years where Fernando Mendoza is like a cornerstone of your entire operation. You look at Jeremiah Love, at best, you get 7.5, 8 years of elite production out of a running back. So I think that's why we undervalue them properly. I think Jeremiah Love's going to be a stud. I think Ashton Janty this year is going to be a stud. But how many Derrick Henrys have there been ever in the NFL? Like 5, where they play for 10 plus years and are awesome for 10 plus years? It just doesn't happen with running backs. And unfortunately, you see guys jump off a cliff around year 7, around year 8, and you can't build around that necessarily.
I do think we undervalue them, and everything you said is valid. I mean, and because you can find late round running backs on day 3.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara was a 3rd round draft pick, I think.
Right, like Isaiah Pacheco, not that he's ready anymore, was a 7th round pick. You've had guys who have been decent to good starters in this league who come on day 3, but we went so far the other way. There was those few years there where Le'Veon Bell didn't get paid. It felt like if you were a big time running back, you were kind of SOL. I mean, you had no ability to get paid. And then you have Derrick Henry, who signs with the Ravens. Then you have Saquon Barkley, wins Super Bowl with the Eagles, and he was the best player on that team. Wasn't just a piece of it. He was the focal point. And then you see the Raiders go get Gentry. Jeremiah Love can be a franchise-altering back. And I think there's something to be said for when you also extend your quarterback's shelf life. You see, like with the Chiefs getting Kenneth Walker, Mahomes has the knee injury and the ACL injury. They don't want him dropping back 40, 50 times a game, so they go get a bell cow back. Whatever team lands Jeremiah Love, whether it's the Titans, whether it's the Giants, whoever it is, you take a lot of pressure off your young quarterback in Jackson Dart or Cam Ward and can kind of help their development. Everyone thinks you just go get a receiver or a tight end to help your quarterback. Sometimes a quarterback's best friend can be just having a great running game.
The other thing I would say is Jahmyr Gibbs is probably like the most exciting young running back in the game right now. The Lions always have someone else paired with him, and that's across the board. Like the most productive Alvin Kamara ever was when he had Mark Ingram in the backfield with him. I actually think a big thing that hurt the Chiefs this last year was like Kareem Hunt was actually kind of producing, but on the other side, Isaiah Pacheco wasn't producing whatsoever. So it is like the best running back groups in the league are what we talk about, the tandems, where like Saquon Barkley a year ago, was it Gainwell who was running alongside him in Philly?
I believe it was Gainwell.
I think so too. So it's like it's always a tandem. It's not necessarily just one bell cow anymore unless your name is Derrick Henry. And even with Baltimore, they had a trio of running backs with Derrick Henry. All right, we're going to save number three for the other side because we got a big fight coming up this weekend. Tyson Fury back in the ring. Let's get into it and get you ready for it. Coming up next at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Yeah, I got control of the music today. Don't worry about that. Sammy's up in LA. I'm holding things down here in San Diego.
I like it. You're 1-for-1 so far, man.
SDFC back at home, Snapdragon Stadium tomorrow night. They got Minnesota United pregame coverage with Adrian Garcia Marquez and Darren Smith. We'll begin at 7:00 right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. If you're looking for some more intel on that game, Luca Bambino going to be joining us coming up at 1:15. Can't wait for that. But we got some pretty big fights going on this weekend. So an excellent card in the UFC. We got Yuri Prohaska, who's jumping in. It always seems like he's one of the UFC's favorites. I don't know about a fan favorite, but he usually gives some pretty entertaining fights. He's fighting against Olberg, I think. And then you got Tyson Fury, who became wildly famous, 5 or 6 years ago now, when he was fighting Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Do I have that right?
Never fought Joshua. He fought Wilder 3 times. The trilogy was great. Fought Usyk. Fury's he's a definition of A, he's fun to watch, but B, can sell himself like no other. I mean, a throwback to the kind of Muhammad Ali style, like where you got to tune in because the self promotion by Tyson Fury is second to none.
And this is on Netflix, right?
Yeah. So Netflix is doing the card. It's kind of an odd time in boxing for the heavyweight division because while a lot of the younger divisions, like we talked about, Juju Battle this week and Johnny Mansour and some of the lower divisions with Garcia and Tank Davis, Teofimo Lopez are pretty stacked. The heavyweight division's kind of phasing out a little bit. Like Usyk is 37 years old, heavyweight champ of the world, says he has 3 fights left. And Tyson Fury getting up there in age, Deontay Wilder, we just saw beat Tarek Chisora last weekend. Anthony Joshua's getting up there in age. So this kind of whole class for years now of the top guys are all kind of on the tail end. So this is kind of Tyson Fury's last run. I mean, he lost twice to Usyk. Joshua lost twice to Usyk. Fury's fights were pretty close. The first one he could have debated whether he should have lost that one, but this is kind of his first step back in and trying to get back at the heavyweight championship. And Makhmudov's a decent fighter, but he is almost a 5-1 favorite. He should be able to walk him down later in this fight.
No, I was going to try to pronounce the name, so I'm glad you did it, but it's Arslanbek Makhmudov. Is that right?
Yes.
Look at that. How about it?
Got your Russian on.
But I'll tell you, like Tyson Fury is kind of one of those guys, to me at least, where he's had excellent fights in the past against big names, but it almost doesn't matter who he's fighting because he is just entertaining television. So when you turn on Tyson Fury, you know you're going to get something crazy happening. You know that those eyes are going to be going wild. He's going to do a little dance in the middle of the ring. He has a little bit of a dad bod.
When he sung American Pie after knocking Wilder out in America, it was fantastic.
Right. It's like that's the type of personality you need. And it's almost just a bummer that when he was in his physical prime and when like he probably could have been the number one guy in the world, there wasn't necessarily that counterpart. In the Wilder Fury fights were awesome, but they never really took complete center stage like it would have with Mike Tyson back in the day. And I don't know what boxing needs to get back to that. You almost needed 2 Furies. Like you needed a Tyson Fury and then someone to be the villain because he's so rootable.
And Fury is also, he's easy to root for. I mean, this is a guy who's dealt with like his story arc. There will be a movie someday about Tyson Fury. I mean, getting to be heavyweight champ, ballooning up to like 400 pounds, massive drug addiction, massive alcohol addiction. And people thought his career was over, and then to get sober and then have this whole kind of second act to his career has been just cool to see as a fan. And as someone who's always been a fan of Tyson Fury, but to your point about needing the counterpart, Usyk's a really fun fighter and a likable guy, but when America has a big time heavyweight, that's why the Wilder Fury fights were so big, because you had the America versus England kind of narrative going on, like when Lennox Lewis was destroying things out of England and all the great American heavyweights over the years. We haven't really seen a young great American heavyweight so far, and I think it has a lot to do with like soccer. Why we're ranked 11th in the world in men's soccer is because if you're the best athlete in America, you're playing football and basketball and baseball and maybe hockey. Like there's a lot of other things you're going to before soccer. Whereas you grow up in England, you grow up in France. If you're the best athlete, you're going to go play soccer. Same kind of applies to boxing in that a lot of these other countries, England, if you're too big to play soccer, you're going to box. Like that's kind of the two biggest sports over there. Mexico's the same way. And how many heavyweight champs for America are currently playing in the offensive line or defensive line in the NFL or center in the NBA? So it'd be fun, hopefully sometime soon. There's a few guys coming up the rankings like Richard Torres that we could hopefully see down the road. But it would be fun to kind of see an American counterpart really take over the heavyweight division.
All right, text line is open, 70470. Start your message with team if you want to jump in here. Let's see, 615. Hey, Sammy, at least you didn't have $100 2-leg parlay with the Rockies plus 3.5 runs.
Oh, no.
Hashtag bad beats.
Oh, no.
615. That is brutal, man. And I would also argue, like, the Rockies probably outplayed the Padres for the majority of that
100%.
game last night. And just the one swing of the bat, that was all it took for the Padres to get it. And congratulations to Xander.
That's a terrible beat. I'm sorry.
That sucks. 615 760. Low key. I'm more hyped for Yuri versus Olberg this weekend. It is a good UFC card.
It's a great fight.
And I really do like Yuri Prohaska. He kind of became famous during COVID when the UFC was the only sport going. And he used to have that little thing on top of his head, the man bun that was just like little flower sprout almost.
760 also says Tyson going to walk through the Russian 12-round decision. Yeah, we got a lot. Fight fans got it great. Boxing UFC is really popping off this weekend. 858 says Sammy needs to make some kind of sacrifice to get long shots flowing. Listen, Casey from Society, one of our guys, DM'd me last night. They're big Philly fans. I put faith in Philly. For some reason, I have a belief in the Sixers when even Sixer fans don't have a belief in themselves. Philadelphia.
Did you know about Joel Embiid's appendicitis when you made the bet?
That's why I liked the bet, because I thought that the line was too big because the guards of the Sixers could hang with them. I was very wrong. Houston put a beat down on the Philadelphia 76ers because they play zero defense whatsoever.
True story. I'm golfing with Casey today. So we'll talk all sorts of smack about Sammy's long shots while we're golfing. But yeah, maybe sacrifice a chicken or something. I don't know. Are there chickens running around the streets of LA? I feel like there might be.
Los Angeles?
Yeah, you can go grab one and just,
I don't know. I'll walk outside in Burbank and
you'll find something. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. We also have some Lakeside Rodeo tickets for you. We'll tell you how to win them on the other side. Plus, let's get into the NBA. We have an appendicitis, a number 1 seed completely locked up, and the East is fully in question. An injury to a superstar. We'll get into it all. On the other side, it's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Padres electric walk-off by Xander Bogaerts hitting the grand slam in the 12th inning last night, winning 7-3. They're back tonight, same time, same place, Petco Park. 6:40. Walker Buehler will be on the mound for the Pods, and the Lakers pick up a win over the Warriors last night by 16, 119-103. They're taking on the Suns tonight back in Los Angeles. Phoenix is currently a 2.5-point road favorite in that one. That gets going at 7:30. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. It's the Zone coming up right after we get off the air. Sammy stays on the air, going along with Sammy from 2 to 3, and then Schaefer and Sleewall will be your drive home for the weekend. Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for being here. Enjoying a Padres walk-off win in the 12th inning last night. We played that Don Orsillo call earlier in the show. We will play it again at the top of the next hour. We got Sammy's long shots coming up in about 15 minutes if you want to make some money this weekend, especially because Sammy's going to make a sacrifice on the streets of Los Angeles here coming up pretty soon. And we have some Lakeside Rodeo tickets for you. So you can buy tickets now at lakesiderodeo.com or just keep listening for a little bit to find out how you are going to win those tickets. 858 is responding by saying, Sammy, you're usually spot on with your picks, but a human sacrifice of the first person you see wearing Dodger colors will appease the parlay gods.
That's not going to go too well considering I'm literally looking at the Dodger studios right now.
See, that's kind of crazy. That
AM 570.
I feel like you could just go punch David Vassay and we would call this all even, right?
David Vassay might be in today because the Dodgers are playing the Rangers tonight.
I'm just saying, maybe a quick little 1-2. We were playing the Rocky music, and if he dies, he dies.
Yeah, well,
who do you have a view of right now?
Petros Papadakis is not in yet, but I will tell you who I saw was hanging out in an office with for 30 minutes, who unfortunately will not be on our show today because he is filling in on AM 570. Mr. Steve Hartman was holding court in the middle of all the studios of KFI and AM 570, telling story after story. And he walked in, he goes, Sammy, tell Fletch, I'm very sorry I will not be on today at 1:30. I'm on AM 570, the station that I built and I created. I will be back next week.
See, even if there was nobody around for Steve to hold court, he would still be holding court. He would just be walking through the break room, talking to whatever intern is there or promotions team member there. Just saying, see this wall over here? I built it with my own two bare hands. Actually, not my hands. My voice built these walls of AM 570.
I pay for your salary all these years later.
Southern California radio is not Southern California radio without the history of Steve Hartman. All right. Well, that may be very true. And Steve is cheating on us once again, which we got to figure this out, man. We got to figure out the schedule there, Steve. Maybe if you know you're going to be working on a Friday, you can let us know. So maybe we have you on a Thursday. Things could be so simple. All right. We haven't hardly talked any Masters today, but the update is this. The cut line's looking like it's going to be +4. So 4 over par for the cut line after 2 days of the tournament. That could still move. I doubt it will. It seems like that's where it's going to be. Day 2 has been harder on a lot of folks than day 1 was. It seems like they may have made the greens somehow even faster out at Augusta, which they were already on fire yesterday. The sand has been a problem for everybody this week. If you missed it yesterday, Bryson DeChambeau hit under his ball 2 consecutive times in a bunker, looking like me and Sammy.
That was wild.
It was wild. You just don't see pro golfers do that. Make that mistake, especially twice in a row. Putts have been miserable all weekend long, or all first 2 days long so far. But Rory is playing some really, really good golf, man. He had a little bit of a hiccup here on the front 9, but it's either birdies or bogeys for Rory so far, and there's been more birdies than there have been bogeys. So he's down to -7, which is the lead right now out at Augusta. All right, basketball. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has essentially locked up the MVP. The Oklahoma City Thunder have locked up the 1 seed in the West. But Sammy, you had a really, really interesting question that we didn't get to on the Big 3. Why don't you let it rip about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
if you had to pay, like so much have been about this MVP race when it was Shea now, Wemby was in it, Luka was in it, Jaylen Brown, Jokic. There's been a lot made, especially a couple weeks ago when it felt wide open. But if you had to spend one ticket to see one NBA game and pay the amount of freight that you have to pay to get in, what player are you seeing? What player are you paying the freight regardless of the price for to get in to go see? Text us 70470. Start your message with team, because I don't think, and I'm curious what our text line thinks, and Fletch, I'm curious what you think. I don't think a lot of people would say Shea, even though Shea is going to win MVP. He won MVP last year. So it's going to be back-to-back MVPs. Hell, he might go win a championship, so he might go back-to-back. I don't know what Shea has to do to be that player, and I don't know if he can be in the public's perception of him.
So I do think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been the best player in basketball for the last 2 years. He would not be my answer for this pick, and unfortunately, I don't know that it has anything to do with Shai. I think it might be where he plays. I do think Oklahoma City gets a little bit knocked down because it's Oklahoma City and it's the Thunder, and really, who cares about him? And that sucks to say. Now, at the same time, when it was Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook on those Thunder teams, it was like one of the most exciting things going in basketball. And they had cachet, they had charisma, and they had swagger, and they still lost to the Warriors. But as of right now, like, my answer would still be Steph or LeBron. Like, I'm part of the problem, but I think I've seen Steph Curry play once in my life. It was pretty amazing. And I wasn't even a Warriors fan at the time. He just plays basketball different. Like, he runs the entire, like, you don't understand it by watching TV, how hard Steph has to work to get open. And then LeBron James, it's a little bit like going to watch Tom Brady. Like, I made that sacrifice, if you can call it that. In Brady's final year, he played at SoFi against the Rams. My brother and I each paid a couple $100 and had to sit in awful traffic and deal with awful parking and deal with all that. I'd do it all over again because I got to see Tom Brady play, and he wasn't even playing against my team. It was just, you want to see the heroes while they're still playing. And I've always hated Tom Brady, but I still went for it. And I feel the same way about LeBron James. Like, at this point, it would probably be LeBron still. Right after that, it would be Steph. And right after that, it might be Jokic. Like, I think Jokic is more fascinating than Shea, and Jokic is boring as hell. But I just don't. Unfortunately, Shea hasn't cut through yet.
Right, because there's a difference between just being the best player and being the most electric player. Because I would put as top three most electric players in the sport today: Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, and Luka Doncic. When they are on, those players can just take over games. Not that Shea can't, not that Jokic can, or Curry or LeBron. It's those three bring a lot of swag. They're young. Luka, his offensive prowess is second to none. Anthony Edwards is amazing how he plays both ends of the floor, just as good as a defensive player as he is as an offensive player. And his dunks, he sells, he talks. Like, Halliburton is likable and talks. And throwing up the choke at the Garden with Reggie Miller last year, that was a star-making performance. But to the point you just made about Shea plays in Oklahoma City. Well, Ant plays in Minnesota. Halliburton plays in Indiana. Luka plays in LA, so Luka's a massive star. But if Halliburton was playing for the Knicks, or if Anthony Edwards was on the Lakers or the Miami Heat or the Dallas Mavericks or something, I think their stardom would go to a different level. Because Shea and Jokic are odd in that they're just great players. Jokic is just amazing that he's a point center and has totally changed the way bigs are developed. I mean, Alperen Şengün would never be in the league today if it wasn't for Nikola Jokic being able to kind of run the offense through a center and be pass first and look to score second. Jokic is amazing. Shea is amazing. Shea just gets to the free throw line. I think it's when people get frustrated. His mid-range game is so good. You talking about Steph Curry. Steph Curry was just amazing when he burst on the scene, and still has been his entire career, because him and Clay are throwing it up from half court in the logo, and historically you would just never do that, and yet you couldn't guard them. So Shea and Jokic aren't exciting in that they're like electric, like Luka or Edwards or Halliburton or even Jalen Brunson, but they're just great players. So when we talk about the face of the league conversation going forward, I wonder who it is, because Wemby could be that guy, freaking nature. Some people have said that the face of the NBA has to be American. I don't really know where I fall on that. I don't think that's true. They just have to be electric. I think so too. I think
most of the United States was rooting for Conor McGregor in every fight he had.
Right, because he could talk. It has to be someone who can talk. Like Anthony Edwards brings an element of he's fun to watch, but he also probably has pissed you off at one point if you're an NBA fan because he'll talk about your team. And there's something fun about that. Halliburton has a rival with the Knicks. Luka with the Mavs. Like there is a bit of Draymond for years with the Warriors had rivalries. People didn't like Draymond. There has to be kind of that dislike factor at times. And I think that's where Jokic, people just kind of accept his greatness. People don't like Shea, but Oklahoma City is such a small market that despite him winning, I don't know if he's the face of the NBA.
It is a tricky conversation, and the NBA needs to figure it out probably sooner rather than later, or they risk going into a dead zone when they finally do move on from LeBron and Steph.
619 says Cooper Flag. That
not yet.
That makes sense. I mean, Dallas played at Duke, but probably the future of American Team USA basketball is the future of Team USA basketball when LeBron and KD and Curry are all out. So I could certainly see Cooper Flag, and he plays in the market to do it.
All right. Before we get to long shots here, there was a question that was battling around Big Rich, TD, and Fletch this morning that I thought was pretty fascinating, mainly because I was the one to come up with the question, but I do think it's a good one. So I was watching Fight Club earlier this week. You know Fight Club, right, Sammy?
Of course. I actually have not seen it, but I know the movie.
Oof, that's a rough one.
I know.
The homework assignment, watch Fight Club this weekend.
I told you, I got the ending spoiled for me, so I never watched it.
It's still a great movie. I've seen it probably 10 times in my life. Even if you know what's going on, you don't know what's going on. So Fight Club, the first time that Edward Norton's character meets Brad Pitt's character, they're on a plane. And Brad Pitt's sitting on the aisle seat. Brad Pitt's sitting on the window seat. Edward Norton on the aisle seat. Brad Pitt gets up because he has to go to the bathroom. And he says, now we're in that awkward place where I don't know whether to give you the front or the backside when I cross by you. Are you a front crosser or are you a back crosser?
Back.
I would always show the butt.
Yeah, because first off, it's like if you're at a bar, you have to go like people will turn their backs to you. Because here's the problem with going front facing. Now, if I'm having to jump over Ben to get to the aisle to the bathroom, we have this weird moment of locking eye contact.
Thank you.
That we're sitting there, and it's a little odd as I'm shuffling by you. So I'm definitely going to go back. But I'm surprised not everyone went back with this.
Rich was all about the front. And it was having to do with if he were to fall over backwards, he might actually seriously injure someone.
He does have a big behind.
He's got the biggest butt you've ever seen in your life.
He really works that glute machine. It's usually just for girls at the gym, but Rich is crushing the glute machine.
That mixed with the steroids he's been taking, it really adds to everything going on. But I think his bigger thing is like Rich played at like 325 when he was in the NFL. He's down to probably 270. His ass hasn't changed. It's the same ass that was blocking for Tom Brady. Just the rest of him has slimmed down quite a bit. So I can almost understand it from his point of view, but still imagine Rich Ornberger standing up from the window seat, turning, facing you, crawling over you to go to the bathroom. Like that's not a sight anyone wants. I don't know. If you want to give us your thoughts, text us or hit the YouTube chat.
It's like my comparison to this is if you've ever had to been on a road trip and had to share a bed with a friend or something because everyone was piling into a room, you wouldn't sleep facing each other, right? You would sleep on opposite sides of the bed and face out. So you go back to back. Like, if we had to share a room, I wouldn't want to be looking into your eyes.
And there needs to be a pillow separator in the middle.
And no disrespect to anyone, whatever their things are. But I'm saying if this is a platonic friendship and we have to share a room, I don't want to just look into your eyes as I doze off. I'm going to face the other way.
From the 619, I'm 6'1", so my knees go everywhere. I have to be looking when I walk by. That's from our buddy Quack.
Quack. Look, out to Quack.
6'1", I guess is kind of tall. It's not a crazy tall. It's not like you're not 6'6", 6'7". 6'1's manageable.
Yeah,
that's slightly above average
height, Quack. That's a very good height.
It's a good height, but it's not a height where it's like, I'm so tall, I'm going to knock over everything.
Wait, Quack's saying his knees are too big. He's gonna hit people with them.
I don't know. Quacked. That seems like seems like a little bit of a stretch. All right, we're gonna take a quick break here. On the other side, Sammy's gonna make us all some money. On the other side, you're gonna win a pair of tickets to go to the Lakeside Rodeo on Sunday, the 26th. Don't go anywhere. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Sammy will keep the party going after that, going long with Sammy. And then Schaefer and Sleewalk will take you home today, 3 to 6. Coming up tomorrow night right here on 760, we got SDFC. They got a game against Minnesota United at Snapdragon Stadium. You can buy tickets at sdfc.com. And we got Luca Bombino coming in studio or coming on the air with us at 1:15 today to talk about that matchup, talk about his 19-year-old season with SDFC. Wildly successful for a 19-year-old. Sammy, what are we doing at 23 and 30?
I don't know. I mean, I wish I'm going to blame my parents for not giving me better genetics.
That's good.
If I was 7 feet tall and was more athletic, I could have been in the NBA. Maybe if I ran a 4.2, I could have been a receiver in the NFL. Or maybe if I had strength and conditioning and some cardio from a young kid, I could have been playing football for SDFC.
Yeah, they just did too much when they were mixing up together your DNA. They were like, we need good hair on this one. And they gave you a great head of hair. And you know what? Bad eyes. You wear glasses. Decent facial hair. Not great. And you do have nice ears. I'll give you that. Good set of ears.
Nice ears.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I've never gotten a compliment on my ears before.
I don't really ever see your ears, actually. They're always covered up by headphones. So that's, very nice. Very nice ears. Nice lobes.
See, they're covered by headphones. And I swear to you, I didn't even know. This is hand on a Bible. True story. I did not know you were bald the first 6 months we worked together.
Well, I got lots of hair on
your hat off.
Sides. I just don't really have much up here. So that's the problem I'm dealing with. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760 every day around this time. We do a little something called Long Shots where Sammy attempts to make us all some money based on whatever's going down in sports. We got a busy weekend with fights, the NBA season winding down, and, of course, baseball in full effect. Sammy Long, let's get to it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Pay that man his money.
With Long Shots.
How about freaking Jason Day and Justin Rose and Patrick Reed? The one time a year all those guys play really good golf is at Augusta, and they're all near the top of the leaderboard right now. Rory McIlroy in the lead at 8 under par. Those three guys all at 5 under. Sammy, where we going long shots?
All right, we have a packed long shots. We have a lot of picks here. So everyone parlay at your will, bet individually, whatever you want to do. Sammy Claus has got some money cooked up for you over the weekend. Okay, we're heading to the UFC first. Yuri Prochazka, Carlos Ulberg fighting for the light heavyweight title, which was voided by Alex Pereira, who has now moved up to heavyweight. I like Prochazka via TKO, KO, or DQ. Plus 140 on the money line. Get you some value there because currently it's a pick'em fight. Prochazka's a slight favorite. Prochazka's a weird fighter. He's a tricky fighter to figure out. He throws an awkward jab. He's been in against the best. I mean, he has beaten everyone not named Alex Pereira. And I think the only reason this is a close fight in the betting odds is because people are looking at those Pereira losses and going, does he still have it? He's the best when he's not fighting Pereira. Pereira's power is able to match Prochazka and actually go. He has more power than Prochazka. Kind of strikes the fear in him. And is in Pereira when he's trading is better than just about anyone in the UFC. The Prochazka KO Khalil Roundtree, who's a very solid fighter in the UFC. KO Jamal Hill. I think he takes him out of here. I get Ulberg's a very good fighter, has a lot of power, but considering he's been in there against Pereira, against Hill, against Roundtree, all these guys have a lot of power. In it, he always comes out on top. I like him KO, TKO, or DQ plus 140. All right, let's go to the undercard. Finding the fight here. Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker. So Dominic Reyes, people may remember, he had an amazing fight, kind of got jived in a decision against John Jones. This was years ago. There's the one fight in John Jones' career, a lot of people thought he should have lost the fight. He ended up winning. Dominic Reyes, though, kind of went into free fall after. Lost 3 consecutive fights, has not been the same. And Johnny Walker was a former top prospect for the UFC. Hasn't quite worked out in that regard, that he hasn't become one of the top billers on the UFC card, but he's still a solid fighter. I like under 1.5 rounds. These guys have massive power, not a lot of defense. We're going to take the under in a 3-round fight. They're in the heavier weight divisions. I think one of them catches the other one and takes them out early because these guys are just going to stand there in trade. Give me the under on Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker. Both guys looking for the last kind of revitalizations of their career. All right, let's head to boxing. Fury Makhmudov. This one, we're going to go a little bit heavier on the favorite. Fury by KO or TKO, minus 220. If you like it's kind of juiced it up a little bit, I also like the over 7.5 rounds at minus 126. I think Fury gets the KO, but let's not forget, he's been out of the ring for a little while. He weighed in 13 pounds lighter today than his heavyweight title fight against Alexander Usyk. So he's going to want to get some rounds in, looking to fight Joshua next, possibly Wilder, and then set up that massive rematch trilogy fight against Alexander Usyk. He's been out of the ring for a while, going to want to get some rounds in. The fact that he's weighing in a little bit lower means he's going to want to box more, except rather than lean on him like he did in the Wilder fight. So I think this goes over 7.5 rounds. I do think Fury gets the KO or TKO. Makhmudov's always been a solid fighter in his career through the first 4 to 5 rounds. Problem is his conditioning is not there. He usually fades late in fights. Fury handpicked him. He stands right there. He gets the KO later. All right, on the co-main, Conor Benn and Regis Prograis. I know we're running out of time here. I'll wrap this up. Regis Prograis, Conor Benn, over under 5.5 rounds. I like the over here. Conor Benn and Zuffa Boxing with Dana White handpick Regis Prograis, trying to get a big knockout to kind of boost him on the Zuffa brand. But Prograis's been in there against the best. Jack Catterall, Devin Haney all went to decision. I think that Conor Benn, coming off his big fight against Chris Eubank Jr., which was at a heavier weight class, he gets the win, but it comes past over 5.5 rounds.
Very good, Sammy. We'll post a little recap of that. Hey, we don't have time for it right now because I got to tell you about what's going down this weekend out at Valley View Casino and Hotel. It's Dave's $250,000 weekend windfall happening tonight, April the 10th. You could be one of 10 guests who's going to spin to win $25,000 at Valley View Casino and Hotel. That's right. Tonight, 10 guests could be walking away with $25K in the bank. Plus, more play is going to be awarded throughout the night. You can earn entries today playing, and then tonight from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., your chance to win. But you got to be a Players Club member, and signing up is always quick, easy, and free. So go out there right now, stop what you're doing, join the Players Club. You're going to get over $200 in free offers to use at San Diego's favorite casino. And then tonight, you could be entered in to win $25,000. Those free offers I was talking about, how about $10 of match play, $10 of more play, $20 off your meal at the Black and Blue Steakhouse, $10 to Patties and Pints, which is where I'm going to be watching the golf action tomorrow. The more you use your Players Club card on all your favorite slots or table games, the more rewards you're going to earn, like complimentary dining, free hotel stays, luxury gifts, invitations to exclusive events, and more. Don't miss out. Valley View Casino and Hotel tonight. Dave's $250,000 weekend windfall. Join the Ultimate Players Club to get over $200 in free offers today. To learn more, visit valleyviewcasino.com. All guests 21 and over are invited to enjoy the casino, hotel, and restaurants. Hour 2 next.
This war is sponsored by Unbound.org. We got the Padres back tonight, coming off that electric walk-off grand slam by Xander Bogaerts. They're currently minus 175 at 6:40 tonight. They got Walker Buehler on the mound. Lakers get going at 7:30 back in Los Angeles, taking on the Phoenix Suns. Suns are currently 2.5-point road favorites. Lakers on the second night of the back-to-back after beating the Warriors last night. Hear that game on San Diego Sports 760. In UFC 327, Yuri Prochazka and Carlos Oberg going for the light heavyweight title that Alex Pereira vacated. They're currently a pick'em, with Prochazka being a slight favorite to win it tomorrow night. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Start off easy. Start with the obvious.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Couldn't be better.
Who's in the mood for walking? Extra inning win at Petco for the Padres. Who's in the running for the green jacket? And SDFC's back at Snapdragon Stadium versus Minnesota. Plus,
Lakers Warriors. Now, this just came out a few minutes ago. The line is actually not moved. So we're going to go with the point total, 222.5. Give us the under.
so close I can taste it.
I don't see Miami being able to hang with them. They're such an offensive-minded team. I think Toronto covers minus 3.5. Let's go! I like the Sixers plus 6.5.
No, not a chance in hell.
Getting ready for the weekend from the San Diego Sports 760 studios in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
Hour number 2, let's get it cooking here on a Friday, and happy Friday to everybody out there. Big night last night for the Padres. Walk-off home run from Xander Bogaerts in the 12th inning, finally getting that signature moment that he's been waiting for. It was a grand slam, too, for Xander. 2 intentional walks leading to that. Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado both put on base by the Rockies. Xander steps up, chip on his shoulder, bomb to left field, wins the game for the Padres, loses the bet to our buddy from the 615 who had the Rockies plus 3.5. A brutal beat last night in Major League Baseball. Couple of Padres stats that I want to bring to everybody's attention. So we've had a lot of fun talking about the new City Connect jerseys. It, depending on what circle you're in, you either love them or you hate them. And I don't really get the hate behind them. They just look like a normal baseball jersey that's kind of like the Houston Astros jersey to me. I can't really imagine getting upset about that. What I will say, have you seen the numbers that have come out on these, Sammy?
No. The merchandise numbers?
The merchandise numbers. The Padres City Connect 2.0 uniforms dropped on Thursday and immediately broke records. This is according to the Sports Business Journal. Petco Park yesterday alone surpassed $1.1 million in single-day retail on sales, doubling the previous record of $550,000 set on opening day back in 2023. Yesterday, the Padres had their best day by 100% in terms of merchandise sales.
Maybe they could take that money and go sign Lucas Giolito.
Is he even good? Like, if he was good, wouldn't someone have already signed him? Seriously.
Well, he's good. I think what's happening is he's waiting because baseball's such a long season. One of these aces for one of these teams is going to go down. It's inevitable at some point during the MLB season. And he's kind of, because he's the last solid starting pitcher on the free agent market, teams are going to pay a freight. Because if you're a team like the Yankees or the Mets, or a team that feels like, hey, we could win a World Series, and the Padres could fall into that, which is why I'm surprised they haven't at least publicly made a run at him yet. He's going to get a huge contract. And from the Padres' perspective, why aren't you doing a 1-year deal? Why don't you inflate the number on a 1-year deal? It's coming off the books, so whoever you sell the team to, it's not going to matter because you're not signing him to a long-term deal. I mean, could you imagine Lucas Giolito added to this lineup and then Joe Musgrove coming back at some point?
It'd be great, but I think the Padres are dealing with like too many pitchers right now. Not all of them are healthy, but by the time that Canning and Musgrove and Waldron all get healthy, that's going to be like 5 pitchers battling for 2 spots in the rotation. So I don't know that adding another pitcher that it seems like most people are punting on right now. Like if someone really wanted Lucas Giolito, he would already be on a team. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it.
But he would instantly be better than everything the Padres have not named Nick Pivetta, Vasquez, and King.
Vasquez is where I was going next. I'm glad you brought it up, Sammy. If we haven't noticed, through his first 3 starts this year, Randy Vasquez has been phenomenal. He was great last night. The numbers are kind of astonishing, honestly. So last year, Randy Vasquez, the book on him was he's not going to strike too many people out. He could probably get you through 4, maybe 5 innings, and he'll keep the run total a little bit down, but it's going to be through a lot of ground balls. You got to play great defense behind him. This year so far, Randy Vasquez, ERA 1.02, 17 2/3 innings pitched, which is an average of almost 6 innings per start, 19 strikeouts so far, 4 walks allowed. Randy Vasquez is putting up ace numbers through 3 games this season. They're obviously a long ways to go. You need to see him keep this up over 20 to 25 starts. But Randy Vasquez through 3 games has been as successful as any pitcher in Major League Baseball. Let that one sink in, everybody. Randy Vasquez, the ace of the Padres.
Well, that's why all the stuff we talked about in the offseason of concern about the starting pitching rotation, and there still are concerns. Just because Vasquez is playing well, you have a solid top 3. The Joe Musgrove news is concerning that doesn't sound like he's going to be back anytime soon. Buehler, we'll see tonight. Buehler's gotten 8 up in his first couple starts, especially that second one. And Germán Marquez, it was great what we saw against the Pirates, but that was also a one-off. His first start was not very good. So it's still up in the air what we're getting from these guys. It's a very game-by-game basis. But the problem so far, when the Padres have lost this season, it really hasn't been because of starting pitching. It has every game had been perfect. No, the one game they won because of the bats, and I give them a lot of credit, was that last Sunday against Philly. That was a bats
Boston.
Showed up. Against Boston, excuse me. Merrill and Machado showed up in that game and really took it to him. But the rest of these outings, I mean, the starting pitchers haven't really completely blown the game open outside of Nick Pivetta in game 1 against Skubal and that first Germán Marquez start. Outside of that, the starting pitching hasn't been terrible. So it just puts even more pressure on the bats although last night was great and we saw the walk-off grand slam, and hopefully that's an omen going forward, but they have to get the power numbers up. The power numbers have to be better, especially because the starting pitching staff is probably giving you a little bit more than internally what the organization thought they were going to be getting at the start of this season.
Yeah, do we need to start putting a counter on Fernando Tatis Jr.? Like, when is his first home run of the season going to be? It's a little weird that it hasn't happened yet.
Agreed. It's concerning that we said it before the year. This team will go as far as Fernando Tatis's play wants to take him.
Seriously, what's the over-under on that, you think? What's the over-under on amount of games until Fernando hits a home run? Now that we're talking about it, it's probably going to happen tonight because that's usually how these things go, especially with the Padres. But genuinely, I'm curious. I'd
be disappointed personally at home against the Rockies if he does not hit a home run this weekend.
I would tend to agree. And look, home runs aren't everything. They're not the end-all, be-all, but slug is. And this Padres team has had a severe lack of slug for the last couple of years. And unfortunately, the way baseball is going, that's just what it takes in the postseason, especially to win. And if your star player who is capable, we've seen it happen, of hitting 40-plus home runs in a year, hasn't had a home run in your 13 games into the season, it's just weird. I think we can all acknowledge that. And so when is Fernando Tatis Jr.'s first home run going to come? Hopefully sooner than later. I'm with Sammy. It better be this weekend against the Rockies because you need to see him start to put together a lot of these. And Fernando Tatis Jr. is hitting sub 200 on the year so far.
Because that Mariner matchup, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, next week is a fun early season matchup, and that it's going to be Raleigh, Arozarena, Julio Rodriguez versus Machado, Tatis, Merrill. That's how they're going to build the series. And we'll get into the Vetter Cup nonsense on Monday. But
nonsense? What?
The
nonsense?
The most forced non-rivalry in all of sports, the Vetter Cup. Who Eddie Vedder doesn't like either team. He likes the Chicago Cubs.
I cannot believe you would just blatantly spit on history like that. That is disgusting. That is foul. And frankly, I'm embarrassed to be associated with you as of right now. The Vetter Cup is important. It means something. It is going to be rivalry week, whatever they call it in Major League Baseball.
How is Dodgers Padres or Dodgers Giants.
Because the Dodgers have the Angels, of course, Sammy.
Yeah,
their natural in-town rival.
That is this is where baseball misses the mark so badly.
Yes, they do. All right, we're going to break a little early here. We're going to do the big three actually at 1:30 today, because coming up next, Luca Bambino is going to be joining us here on the air. Can't wait to chat with him. He's 19 years old, plays for SDFC, is a star defender. He's going to join the show on the other side, get us ready for their game against Minnesota United coming up tomorrow night right here on 760. Luca Bombino coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Sammy will keep the party rolling after that. And then it's Schaefer and Sliwa, our brand new afternoon drive show here on 760. We're also your home for SDFC here in San Diego. And SDFC takes the field at Snapdragon Stadium tomorrow night. They got Minnesota United pregame coverage with Adrian Garcia Marquez and Darren Smith will begin at 7 o'clock right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. And with that, we bring on our next guest. His name is Luca Bombino. He is 19 years old, playing defender for SDFC. Luca, my name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. Thank you for your time today, brother.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's really nice to be on.
Dude, it's an honor. It's a pleasure to have you here. It's exciting this time of year as now in San Diego, we have professional soccer to kind of put on our register of things that we're keeping track of on a day in, day out basis. And you guys are back home. It's been a while since we've seen you at Snapdragon Stadium, but how's the body feeling this year? 19 years old, playing professional soccer. How's everything going for you?
Yeah, no, thank you. Everything's great. Body's feeling good. The atmosphere in the training ground is really good. We're all just really excited to get to work and show the fans all the work that we've been doing day in, day out. But yeah, I'm doing good personally. Life is good. I get to live in San Diego and play soccer, so I can't really complain.
Hell yeah, man. You I'm nice to meet you, Luca. I'm curious what your have you guys seen a change in that last year? You guys were, following you all season. You guys kind of the upstart team that not a lot of people gave a lot of props to before the season. You guys obviously earned your respect going to the Western Conference Finals. And now this season, it feels like the mindset's changed. People kind of gun for you guys and view SDFC as kind of a powerhouse in the MLS. Have you seen a change in that and how teams play you, or is it just kind of neutral to you?
Yeah, one, that's something we expected. We knew that with our first year in the league, there weren't going to be a lot of teams that knew our style of play and our philosophy on the ball. But we knew that in the second year, teams were going to make a big shift in their approach to a game with us because we showed just how effective we could be. And also, it's something we want. We want to be able to show the league and show our dominance in the way we play, both on and off the ball. We want to be a team that's controlling the game and controlling the flow of the match. So we expected it, but it's something that we do want. We want to be a very imposing threat to other teams.
Luca, it feels like you're getting such a head start on a career. Luca Bombino joining us here today on San Diego Sports 760, defender for SDFC. It feels like you're getting such a head start on your career. 19 years old, playing professional soccer. I know it's more common in soccer than it is in a lot of other sports. But how does that feel, understanding you still probably have 10, 15 years left of peak athleticism in starting your career this young? Like, the future for you just must feel incredibly bright at times, doesn't it?
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. It is a very exciting time. Last year was the start of, my experience in first team football. And it did kind of come out of nowhere, to be honest with you. I was, in a second team environment, not really getting a whole lot of opportunities to move up, but then coming into San Diego, quick turnaround, quick change of pace. The learning environment has been superb. I can't ask for more. I have all the resources available to use. The coaching staff has been great. Support of my teammates. It gives me just the confidence to go out and do what I love, which is play soccer. But being this young, I think some people that maybe he doesn't have enough experience to play at this level. And but there's another side to it too, where I provide a different a different perspective to the game. That, I think youthfulness does help with that, but also getting all that experience in last year, both with a new team and, with my first year in first team football, I think has put me in a really unique position that I'm grateful for, where I'm, pretty young, but also I now have a lot of minutes under my belt. So going into this year, I'm really looking to step up big for the team and show that I can provide.
That's awesome. As being new to the team or being young in soccer, what's a player on SDFC that's kind of took you under his wing a little bit and kind of been able to you've learned the most from personally?
Well, there were a lot. we have a really great culture here. A lot of the older guys, they took, because we have also a lot of young guys. I'd say pretty even split. But there were a lot of guys that were looking out for me in the first year, and even now. Guys that come to mind are, Jeppe Tverskov, our captain, Anibal Godoy. Last year, my left back partner, Franco Negri, definitely helped me in a lot of moments, both good and bad. But yeah, just also the camaraderie between the young guys has been huge, because that off the field we're building this great bond that definitely translates onto the field, and I think the fans can see that too.
Luka, do you get the vibe that other teams are kind of giving you their best shot? Because last year it was such a startup. It was an expansion team, and so many things have to go right for you guys to get as far as you did. But it happened, and it was a magical season. Do you get the feeling that this year, like when you play against Minnesota United tomorrow night, is Minnesota United being like, no, this is our league before you guys got here. New kids on the block, you're going to get beat up a little bit?
Well, I think that the mentality of the club and definitely the players it's something that we invite. We do want that challenge. We play football to show our quality on the highest level, and we're happy if teams are coming with their best shot. We wouldn't ask for anything else. So I think the challenge is definitely welcomed, and we just work every day on the training field and in the gym to show that we're ready for it.
When you being a defender, when you look at how the offense and the attacking has kind of grown over the last year, it seemed like a weakness for SDFC at the beginning of last season. And despite kind of guys in and out of the lineup, Milan Lasky, Chucky Lozano, it feels like scoring has went from kind of the negative part of this team early last year to one of the strengths of this team. What are you able to see as a defender, kind of watching it, not from afar, but being able to watch it from a kind of a different perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say we have a lot of different ways we can attack. We do have our philosophy, but in that philosophy, we have a multitude of players that can combine and give us goal scoring opportunities, the critical final pass. I think any of the guys on the field are able to deliver that moment. And I think that's a big strength of ours as a team, that we have 11 guys that are creative on the ball and willing to make runs for each other, to sacrifice when we need to. So I'd say, yeah, just the versatility of all the guys up top, even the midfield and the back line, pitching in to score when it matters.
Luca Bombino joining us. Now, Luca, I don't know that I've ever heard a more perfect name for the sport that you play. Like, you hear certain guys like Pablo Sandoval forever in baseball. It was like he just looked like baseball, and Pablo Sandoval made perfect sense. Is Bombino your real last name?
It is. Yes, I'm privileged to have it. Thank you to my dad and those that came before him.
That's actually kind of crazy that you would grow up to be a soccer player. And Adrian Garcia Marquez is one of the most, like, in our industry, he's one of the top dudes ever to call anything. And we're fortunate enough to have him on our airwaves for every single SDFC game, calling our football team here in San Diego. But every time he says Bombino and he goes with huge inflection, I'm like, there's no way that's Luca's real last name. But man, sometimes the dude upstairs or whatever you believe in, they got stuff figured out beforehand. Because for you have to have the athleticism that you have, the brain on you that you have for at 19 years old to be able to handle a professional sport, and then you also have the name Luca Bombino. It's things sometimes just add up.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's definitely I've had it my whole life, so I can't be like, oh, thank you, I worked on it for a while.
No, I know.
But it's definitely a cool last name, so I thank my dad for that.
Well, congratulations on that and all of your other successes. Don't let the name just be the definition of your career, although you could probably get pretty far on it. Luca Bombino, it was a pleasure meeting you, man. Good luck tomorrow night. Oh, before you go, anything on Minnesota United our listeners should be looking out for tomorrow?
It'll definitely be a fun game. If you can make it to the stadium, we'd love to have you. It's going to be a great environment. It's going to be a tough match. They're a quality side with great players, and it's a playoff rematch from last year. So definitely a big game to look out for, and we'd love to have you.
Can't wait for it, man. SanDiegoFC.com to buy tickets. Get on out to Snapdragon Stadium. If you haven't been to a game yet, it's electric. It's a ton of fun, and you get to see Luca Bombino taking it down to Minnesota United. Appreciate you, Luca. Good to meet you, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, man. Luca Bombino. seriously, Sammy, change your name. Change your name. We need something better.
No, I can't be. You want me to copy Luca Bombino?
No, not to Bombino. Like something better for radio. Like going long, I guess is kind of cool.
Sammy Long is a perfect radio name.
Wow, I've never heard a more conceited human being in my life.
Oh, please.
I guess it's better than
my name.
Better than Sammy Short. We'll see.
Yeah, Long. There's a lot you can do with Long.
All right, it was a pleasure getting to meet Luca Bombino. He's a cool dude, man.
Yeah, he's fantastic, man. It's pretty amazing. And like for being 19, like his poise even in an interview and on the pitch, it's so cool seeing how SCFC has been a team that's gone through so much adjustment through the first season and a half so far, and you're seeing them like take that progression from just cool story first year to now being a powerhouse. I believe they're sitting in 7th in the Western Conference. This is a big game against Minnesota because Minnesota's 9th. So, but everyone's still kind of clumped because it's so early. It should be a fun game tomorrow night.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting how soccer works. It's not just wins and losses. It's the point system, and everybody is clumped. Like the difference between 3rd place right now and where SDFC is at in 7th place is only like 3 points. So that could switch in the course of one game because I think you get 3 for a win, 1 for a tie, 0 for a loss. So everything could change really quickly.
Excuse me, it's a draw, Fletch.
I apologize. Let me go kid up with my boots. It's San Diego Sports 760. Well, it's actually okay. Interesting here. So we'll be back one more time. And then Sammy's going to leave us for a little bit because he's going to go get prepped for going long. And the studio will be infiltrated by Big Rich, Travis Dale, and Cat Fisher. I hope we're all ready for this. I don't know what kind of shape they're going to be in, but we'll see if we can have some fun. Coming up next, it's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Padres back tonight at Petco 640, taking on the Rockies for game 2 of their set. Walker Buehler will get the ball for the Pods. Lakers get going at 7:30, second to last game of the regular season, taking on the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix is a current 2.5-point road favorite. And Tyson Fury back in the ring tomorrow in London, taking Arslanbek Makhmudov. Fury is currently a 5-1 favorite to win. He is a 2-1 favorite to win via KO. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
San Diego Sports 760. We congratulate all of our winners in iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. There's still time to donate to a classroom project, and your donation will be matched by Donors Choose. Help us say thank you to the educators who are shaping our future now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. All right, usually this is when Steve Hartman is on with us. He's decided to take the week off because apparently he has bigger and better things to do. Can't imagine what that would possibly be. But apparently Sammy's hanging out with Steve up in LA. Steve is not hanging out with us. What was his excuse?
He's filling in for Fred Rogan, I believe, on Rogan and Rodney on AM 570.
Ooh, very, very cool, Steve. Thanks for cheating on us once again. We'll see if we can get Steve back next week. Or maybe let's fill someone else in at 1:30 next week.
We'll make him jealous.
It's not a bad idea. Steve does get jealous, by the way.
Really?
Oh, yes. Like if you
Steve Hartman doesn't strike me as a jealous type. He just beats to his own drum.
If you go out to dinner with Steve and you both get a steak and your steak looks slightly better than his steak, he will let you know about it, and he will almost froth at the mouth over the idea that your steak could be possibly a little bit better than his steak. But
right, because he's Steve Hartman, he expects excellence.
He really does on a daily basis. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. Give you a quick Masters update here. Rory McIlroy has been on fire today. 7 under on the tournament, 2 under on the day through 9 holes so far. Patrick Reed is charging, man. Patrick Reed, if you're not following in the world of golf right now, Patrick Reed was in Live Golf. He has departed from Live Golf. He is now on the DP World Tour fighting to try to get his PGA Tour card back. So when Brooks Koepka left Live Golf, he still had eligibility on the PGA Tour for a lot of the tournaments. So he was able to pay the fine and get back on for the beginning of this year's season. Patrick Reed's in a little bit of a different scenario. So currently he's on the DP World Tour, trying to earn his way back onto the PGA Tour. I would tell you, top 5 finish at the Masters might do the trick pretty quickly. Right now, he's tied with Rory at the top. He's 4 under on the day, having one of the best.
Trying to win your PGA Tour card back and you win the Masters.
I know. Wouldn't that be? That's a way to do it, man. So Patrick Reed 4 under on the day through 12 holes. He's been playing awesome. Justin Rose playing pretty incredibly as well. Wyndham Clark making a late push today, 4 under par on the day. And don't worry, gang, our bet is still alive. Jon Rahm looks like he's going to make the cut. He might be the last golfer in the field to make the cut. It's not over till it's over.
Ben Fletcher.
It's not over till it's over.
All of San Diego, as well as yours truly,
I know,
put multiple units on your boy Jon Rahm. I'm giving you a chance.
It wasn't a bad pick. He just played really bad on day 1.
We're going to keep that same energy when long shots hits 2 or 3.
But you always hit 2 of 3 on long shots. You're really, really good at hitting 2 of 3.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm going to use that same excuse. I'm going to say it was a good pick at the time.
It was a good pick at the time. It just hasn't worked out super well. That's the risk you take sometimes. But we'll see if he can have the 2 best days ever in Masters history, because that's probably what it's going to take for us to cash that bet. All right, Padres, I do want to talk about this some more because last night was special, man. And I feel like over a 162-game season, it's so rare and few and far between where you get to point at one game and say that was a special game. And what's special about it to me isn't necessarily just the walk-off grand slam, although how many times does that happen over the course of 162? Might be the only time all year. But it's special to me because it was 2 guys who have been slammed continuously by the Padres fan base who got up and had their moments last night. Like Luis Campusano hitting that double to tie the game was a massive moment. Luis Campusano with the tag to save a run from scoring was a massive moment. And Luis Campusano is a guy that I think a lot of Padre fans were ready to leave for dead a week ago. And all of a sudden he comes out and is one of the heroes of last night's game. And look, I defend you if you've talked smack about Luis Campusano. He hasn't lived up to what we thought he would be.
Right.
Xander Bogaerts, same thing. Like Xander Bogaerts, by all measures of the imagination, is under a terrible, awful, untradeable contract with the San Diego Padres. However, if you can get stuff like that from Xander Bogaerts once in a while, it makes it feel a little bit better. And so for him to be in that situation, literally the Rockies saying, we're going to walk 2 guys ahead of you so that we can pitch to you and hopefully get you to roll into a double play. And he steps up and has that moment last night. He has that moment where he hits the walk-off grand slam. That's just something that can kind of get a fan base a little bit fired up and hopefully get a player back on the right track right now. Because I don't know if you're watching the rest of the Padres. There's not too much power. And Xander Bogaerts had a lot of power, at least in that one moment last night.
913, the lack of slug on this team is very concerning. Hard to compete when you got to force small ball runs. I'm with you. The play of Xander Bogaerts last night, the play of Luis Campusano, to be fair, the last week or so, Jackson Merrill has been hitting the ball well. Ramon Laureano's been playing well. It really, the 2 guys it points to are Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis. Machado's had a decent week. It puts even more pressure because for everything we want to do, to what you just said, blame Luis Campusano, blame Jeremiah Estrada, blame Walker Buehler, Germán Marquez. Your contract is a reflection of what the team thinks of you and the entire league thinks of you. So, yes, is it frustrating when Wandy Peralta comes in and blows a game? 100%. But it's also hard for me to sit here and go, Wandy Peralta is 100% at fault when Wandy Peralta is on the contract that Wandy Peralta is on. And Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado are selling jerseys and bobbleheads like hotcakes. I mean, Tatis, we've given him a grace period a couple weeks. We're going back to the WBC. What were we saying at that time? It's funny, the WBC, when it happens, because we're seeing Tatis look great. The vibes in the Dominican Republic clubhouse look fantastic. He's dancing. Looks like the Fernando that we've seen at times down here in San Diego, and why the city and the fan base has fallen in love with him. But it's time to like rewrite that, because you have this great vibes in the WBC. It's 2 weeks now. This is 2 weeks that Fernando has not hit the ball well, hitting below 200. And that frankly can't keep up. I mean, it's great getting production from Luis Campusano and Xander Bogaerts and guys like that, and we need to celebrate them. But at some point, Fernando has to start playing like Fernando Tatis. And to your point about when is the over-under on when does he get his home run, like this needs to start now. Every game that goes by that he is not hitting for power gets more and more concerning. And it just feels like we're getting farther and farther away from the NL possible MVP Fernando 4 years ago. It's hard to keep making excuses for him when he's not playing well. We know it's in him. He can be that star, but he's not playing well right now.
He hit 42 home runs in a season. Like, that's all you need to know. And I'm just going to say it because it doesn't sound like anybody else will. I miss steroid Fernando Tatis Jr. Sammy, do me a favor. Pull up long shots. We got some text line asking about it. While you do that, I'll read some of these texts. 615 says 19-year-old Luca Bombino makes a once 19-year-old me look like a 4-year-old. It is wild. That dude is professional. He was well-spoken that entire interview. His last name actually is Bombino, which is kind of crazy. 858, new name for Sammy is Sammy Long. Convenient spacing in there. You tried to trip me up, 858. I won't go for it. 913, talking to Rich. Rich will be on here in just a second. 619, love you guys. Thank you for playing my favorite band of all time, Boston, baby.
Yeah, Fletch has been, I got to give Fletch some props. Fletch has been cutting it up on the DJ Fletcher today.
Thank you. Sammy's up in LA. I've had control over the music. It's something I rarely get to do. I do feel like I've hit a lot of home runs today, and I didn't play one country song. So all of you complainers,
I was impressed. Little Chili Peppers in there. I like what I was hearing.
Don't have to complain. 913, we need to see regular home runs, multiple per game. That's what the best teams in baseball are doing right now, man. It really is. Baseball's gotten more simple. For years, it was, can you bat around the lineup? Can you get guys on base, knock them in? And that's really not what it is right now. The teams that are winning a ton of games are hitting a ton of home runs. 858 asking for long shots. Sammy, you want to rip through it?
Yes, Yuri Prohaska, Carlos Oberg, light heavyweight championship. I think Prohaska takes him out, KO, TKO, or DQ. There's a good price there at plus 140. Prohaska is just a weird fighter to figure out. And again, he beats everyone that is not named Oberg. So plus 140 on the KO there. I like Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker to go under 1.5 rounds. That is currently at minus 210. So a little bit of a slight favorite there. Dominic Reyes not the same since his close decision loss to John Jones years ago, and Johnny Walker kind of a failed next UFC star. So under 1.5 rounds there, minus 210. I like Fury minus 220. You get the KO. If you want to juice up the parlay, I think it goes over 7.5 rounds. He's going to want to get some boxing in, some rounds in to get after Joshua Wilder and then Usyk. And I also like Conor Benn and Regis Prograis on the co-main. Ben does get the KO, but over 5.5 rounds. Prograis has been in against top competition. He'll be able to take him a little bit into the fight.
I like it a lot. All right, Sammy is going to take a little break here. Big Rich, CD Fletch, and Kat will all be in studio coming up next. We'll have some fun talking about that Padres game from last night and a little bit of Bar Cart Friday from this morning. But I did want to let everybody know one more time here. Tonight is a big night out at Valley View Casino and Hotel. If you go and you're signed up for the Players Club card, you can spin to win $25,000, 25 G's. All you need to do to qualify for that is to have a Players Card Club. You could qualify for entries just by playing your favorite slots and table games. I'm going to be out of Valley View a lot tomorrow and Sunday. So if you're there, swing by, say hi. I'll probably be the guy on the blackjack table. Sammy, we will see you next week. I know you got to get ready for going long. You got a guest today?
Yes, Matt Devine from Divine Sports Gospel will be jumping on at 2:30 talking a little pods.
How about it? I will see you on Monday. Big Rich, CD, and Fletch, and Kat coming up next at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. It's our final segment of the day. Go along with Sammy coming up next. He's actually getting ready for it right now. So instead of Sammy, this might be a mistake, but I have Rich Ornberger, Travis Dale, and Kat Fisher joining in studio.
Feels good.
That was a hell of a bar cart Friday this morning, boys.
It always is.
We were white girl wasted. They brought in wine from Copper Cane, and we learned a lot, and we made new friends. And our teeth is stained.
No one has left, so everyone was too drunk to drive home.
Do you guys not have mouthwash in the men's restroom? Because we have mouthwash in the women's restroom.
We do. We were just discussing the mouthwash in the men's restroom.
Yeah.
Wondering, well, it never changes any depth. I think it's just the same bottle.
I don't think a lot of people use it. I use it like a couple times a week.
I do know Frankie V uses the one in the men's restroom.
You've seen him?
Because I've seen him go waterfall style, like not even use the Dixie cup, just go straight from the teat.
Well, Frankie's got a drinking problem.
And he never spits either.
We could invite Frankie to a bar cart Friday if he's that hard up for some alcohol.
Can you imagine if he was just like, they never invited me over to 1015 KGB, so I'm just going to hit this Listerine and then get back to Gina.
So this is the zone. Ben Fletcher with you. I do have the crew from Big Rich, TD and Fletch, and Kat over here from 1015 KGB. If you missed our voices in the morning from 6 to 9 a.m. here on 760, we now do the same show, just a little more outrageous and with some more rock and roll over on 1015 KGB every morning from 6 to 10 a.m. And if you remember from the old days, Michael Rappaport was like a buddy of ours on the sports station. We would hang out with him with 30, 35 minutes at a time. We had him back this morning. It was great catching up with Michael.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. He's a good dude. He's a funny dude. We didn't talk any sports, though.
Yeah.
No.
And do you always have to reintroduce yourself to your friends, your buddies that you call them?
What are you talking about?
We all had to reintroduce ourselves. Like, I wouldn't call them our friend.
Yeah, but I mean, Jay-Z had to as well.
I do this every time I pick up the phone, even with high school friends. I'm like, hey, what's up, Rich Ornberger? Just give me a call.
Remember me? We used to hang out back at the block.
Yeah.
School.
Hey, Mom, please allow me to reintroduce myself.
My name is Rich.
Do you mind if I steal like 5 minutes? And I might give you some time back at the end of this one. That
was incredibly rude. Michael remembered us. We were just being nice.
He remembered us, but maybe not name for name.
This is what I like to do, honestly. And it was me. I started it. I always do this because I have a thing. When I walk into a room for the first time in a long time, or if I see people I haven't seen in a while, I can't stand it when somebody doesn't give me the lay of the land. They're not like, oh, hey, by the way, that's this guy's name. You remember from last time we golfed together. Hey, you remember his wife is blah, blah, blah. You know, we met her at the party afterward. Oh, thank you. It's just a good reminder. So when he walked in, you're right. I was just like, Michael, I'm Rich, by the way. I don't know if you remember names, but that's TD over there, Kat and Fletch. And I'm like, and you will be quizzed on it later. Yuck, 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 yuck. We move on with the conversation.
Rich does
Kat clocking it like, oh my God, you're calling me a friend? You didn't even know your name.
Here's why I'm glad Rich does it, because this morning TD's kid came to work, and his kid's name is Caleb. I had no idea. I could not remember his name until Rich was like going around the room.
You couldn't remember my kid's name?
No.
Yeah,
that's nice.
He's
Caleb,
not a fan.
Shmaleb, Tyler, you have a million of those kids. All right.
So many.
I have a million kids.
I think the Shmaleb is Haley, the daughter.
Right, that's the one. We've been talking about it all day here on 760. But last night, Bogey went boom in the bottom of the 12th inning, a walk-off grand slam. Don Orsillo with the reaction.
Bogey in a deep left field! It's back! Slam Diego to walk it off! Bogey goes boom! Into a sea of San Diegans!
Don Orsillo in postseason form here early. What's today? April 10th. So April 9th at night in the 12th inning. I think Don had to pee, and he was glad the game was over.
What is their record right now?
They're 7-6.
So throw 13 games in.
What's so crazy about it is, 13 games in. Donnie boy, man, you. I mean, that is a playoff call.
Literally. That's like they just won game 7 of the NLCS.
Oh, God.
Okay, but
Bogey goes boom, and Mud has already left the building.
But what did we want from him? Just to go, all right, and there it is.
The funnier one is the Colorado call. I don't know if you guys heard it. It was going
like that too, actually.
Viral on social media, but the Rockies game call for the final one was like, oh, God, D, we're back again. Because the Rockies, They won 4 straight leading into last night. It's like no longer the Colorado Rockies who just sit at the bottom of the division. But last night the announcer was so pissed because they played well last night. They probably outplayed the Padres. The Padres just had the moment.
It's almost always the better call of the game when you listen to the opponent's radio call of like a big win. Like, so you're obviously a Padres fan. So you're like, oh, Don and Mud, I want to hear how they reacted to the home run. Meanwhile, it's the Rockies tape that you want to find and you want to listen to. It's always the better call.
The Pod's going to be in their City Connects today, right?
Yeah, I think today is the day. So they're unveiling the Houston Astros, San Diego Padres jerseys.
Speaking of Rockies, the original Rocky City Connect, those green ones with the mountains, they should have just kept those.
Dude, those could have been their everyday wears. I agree with you. And the City Connects this year, they're not bad for a baseball jersey for the San Diego Padres now, but they are navy blue with orange lettering and some white outlining. The only thing that really resembles what they were going for is the Dia de los Muertes patch on the arm, which is very cool artwork, but it's kind of small. It looks like an Astros jersey.
They also have Dia de los Muertos on the belt.
Oh,
So on the slots of the pants, there's 2 sugar skulls. It's pretty cool.
Now, I saw some Padres fans who had purchased them yesterday and were wearing them around the ballpark. I'll tell you, as like a fan jersey, they do look pretty cool.
I like the hats.
Yeah, the hats are badass.
The hats with the roses inside.
And the shirts themselves are cool. Here's my problem with them. It's not a button-up baseball jersey.
That's my feeling too.
It's like a golf pullover almost.
It's just a pullover.
It is a little bizarre when you look at it.
I think the only other team to have them like that was Atlanta.
While you guys were yapping, I found the Colorado Rockies call of the Grand Slam. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Beozo, if I may, is the crafty righty.
Yes.
Everything's below the speed limit. But he does get some rollover ground balls. Trying to get one here. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
In fact, this could be a walk-off grand slam.
I love that's my favorite part of a losing call is like usually it's right after they issue a compliment. So he goes,
this guy's going to get a rollover ground ball.
He's a crafty righty. He's
not going to happen.
Under the speed limit. Wait till you see this pitch. This guy's going to get this fella to roll over. Oh, boy, there it is.
And not going to happen. All right, well, thank you, gang, for hanging out. That was a fun morning. It was a fun afternoon with all of you out there on San Diego Sports 760. Tomorrow night, we got SDFC. Adrian and Darren will get going with the call around 6:45 right here on San Diego Sports 760. Rich, TD, Kat, thank you for stopping by.
You bet.
Going along with Sammy coming up next at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
Hey, player. The all-new Hamul Casino Resort is all yours. The hotel tower with some seriously luxurious suites. The super secret speakeasy. Hey, could you make that too? The indulgent spa retreat. Ah. And the epic rooftop pool in Cabanas. It's all for you at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Book your experience at HamulCasino.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
April is prime sports time.
Launches a three. Got it.
And iHeartRadio has you locked in. Start your day with Fox Sports Radio's Dan Patrick, getting you caught up on the biggest stories.
You got some interesting scenarios here.
Then find your favorite baseball team hitting the diamond.
Grand slam for Mookie Betts.
Or dive into mock draft season with NFL Daily.
We know Mendoza's going number 1. Who do you have at number 2?
From NBA and NHL playoffs to the draft podium, we've got you covered. Open the iHeartRadio app, search sports, and listen now. Broadcasting live from the ESET Cybersecurity Studios, you're listening to San Diego Sports 760. ESET, a global leader in digital security, proudly headquartered in San Diego for North America.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. The Padres and Rockies have game 2 of their series down at Petco Park tonight. It's going to be Tomoyuki Sugano versus Walker Buehler. The first pitch is set for 6:40. And SDFC is back at Snapdragon Stadium tomorrow night when they take on Minnesota United. You can hear Darren and Adrian beginning at 7 o'clock. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Welcome. Herbert Voice Guy said it right there. Welcome back to the show. 2 to 3, precursor to Schaefer and Sliwa coming up from 3 to 6 to make sure to tune in there. Second week of the show, closing it out the second week. So again, I really appreciate everybody for hanging out and love to hear from everybody. Text us 70470. Start your message with team. Again, text 70470. Start your message with team. There is a lot to get to this week. I mean, obviously, I got the Masters on right here. I'm up in LA today doing the show from here. The Masters, I mean, Rory McIlroy, if he's able to win back-to-back, that's going to be super exciting. We got NBA winding down this weekend, final weekend of the season. Some big boxing UFC cards that are going on tomorrow that we're going to get to coming up in the next segment. Matt Devine from Divine Sports Gospel going to be joining me at 2:30 talking some Padres. I mean, amazing last night. Xander Bogaerts hitting the walk-off grand slam. Super cool. Kind of, Fletch and I were talking about it earlier. It was cool to see Xander Bogaerts. And although he's deserved a lot of the criticism that has been brought upon him because of his lack of performance when considering the contract he signed, it was cool to see him have a signature moment because he's dealt with a lot throughout his career. And it was cool to see him with the Padres kind of have a signature moment and certainly flip the switch at least for a day, because had they lost that game, been a very different conversation today about the Padres and the lack of bats, because the bats weren't really there until the 12th inning against the Rockies. But luckily, they came out on top back tonight with Walker Buehler on the mound. We're going to get into some Padres coming up at 2:30. But I want to start with the NBA. So the NBA final weekend here, coming down to the wire, a lot still to be kind of figured out. So in the NBA, the West is pretty much figured out. Oklahoma City is going to be the 1. San Antonio is going to be the 2. Denver, the Lakers, and then the Rockets are all battling for that 3 through 5 spot. The real kind of thing over the next couple days is what can the Lakers get home court advantage against the Rockets? Now, the Lakers season obviously took a massive hit when Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves are now out. We don't know if they'll be able to be returning. It looks like Luka, maybe if they get to the first round, could come back. Reeves sounds like definitely would have to be the NBA Finals. But the problem with that is the Lakers weren't going to the NBA Finals anyway if they had all these guys. And I'm of the mindset I'm hesitant to rush Luka Doncic back, because considering he is the future of the franchise, he is the Los Angeles Laker franchise. And although it's a bummer to see the Lakers season go out the way it's probably going to go out without some of your top guys and probably going out in the first round, and you would have liked to see this team at least be able to compete for a series and try to maybe give the Spurs a bit of a headache, We saw what all happened on that Thursday night. They got blown out by Oklahoma City. They're not a real contender. They're like the best of the second tier teams when fully healthy. So I'm not risking running them back, even though I'd like to see the Lakers win a playoff series. If they were the number 1 seed and they were the favorite, and maybe you had a shot to bring him back, and it was LeBron's kind of maybe swan song, I think it'd be a different scenario. But considering it's not, the Lakers are in an interesting spot. They did pick up a win last night over the Golden State Warriors. They're taking on the Phoenix Suns tonight up here in LA. Hear the game right here on San Diego Sports 760. The West, though, is as total, because even if the Lakers get home court advantage, I don't think without Reeves and without Luka, they're going to be able to beat Houston. They could maybe get a game, maybe 2, because LeBron has an unbelievable performance. DeAndre Ayton steps up. Rui Hachimura. If the Lakers are going to make any noise in the first round, it's going to be because Rui Hachimura and DeAndre Ayton play like where they were drafted, both being lottery picks, Ayton being the former number 1 overall pick. But it feels like in the Western Conference, like we look at down at the bottom tier, the Suns, Clippers, Trailblazers, and Warriors all make up the play-in. I don't see any of those teams as a threat to the Oklahoma City Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs. And it definitely feels like with the Lakers injured, it is a 3-team race. Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and Denver in the West. The Eastern Conference to me is going to be really fun because there is some big question marks. Detroit's the number 1 seed. Cade Cunningham just comes back. But then at the same time, we haven't seen it with Detroit. They got beat in the second round last year by the Knicks. You worry about a lack of shooters around Cade Cunningham, and can they get through? Boston is the odds-on favorite. I feel like as they should be. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they've been there before. They play an excellent brand of defense, only give up about 108 points per game. That's a team that I think could realistically challenge Oklahoma City, but it's kind of a game of musical chairs because it reminds me a lot of the AFC playoff picture, how the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes has Josh Allen's number, and Joe Burrow had the Chiefs number for a while, and then the Ravens had Joe Burrow's number in the Bengals. Every team kind of beats each other, but the Bills would have the Ravens number. Same kind of thing for in the Eastern Conference here. Detroit whoops up on New York. They destroy the Knicks every time they play. Knicks sitting in that 3 spot. The Knicks beat the Celtics last night. No Jason Tatum. They also beat them in the playoffs last year before Jason Tatum got hurt. They were about to go up 3-1. They won that series fair and square, won the first 2 games in the Garden, in Boston Garden. So they kind of have the Celtics number, even though on paper the Celtics are a much better team. And then you got the Cavs, who they're a total wild card because they got upset by the Pacers last year. You add James Harden. Is that enough to push you over the hump? I don't know. Text me 70470. Start your message with team, because historically James Harden has not been a guy that puts a team over the hump in the postseason. He struggled with Houston. He struggled with Brooklyn. He struggled with the Clippers. He is his last 3 Game 7s, he has averaged 13 points per game. And that's when James Harden's been the guy. Now, maybe him being the third wheel behind Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley creates something for him. But there's a lot of wild cards. Even Toronto. Toronto's a really good team with Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram. But I think the play-in, which we're going to see over the final weekend, and if maybe you're an NBA fan who's just tuning in because the end of the season, you're ready for the playoffs, it's fun seeing 7 through 10, Orlando, Philadelphia, Charlotte, and Miami. Now, Philadelphia got a big blow because doesn't look like Joel Embiid is returning anytime soon. He had the appendicitis surgery that came out yesterday. If people have been paying attention, the Charlotte Hornets have been one of the hottest teams in basketball. They acquired Kobe White at the deadline from the Chicago Bulls. LaMelo Ball, Con Knipple, you could argue should be the rookie of the year. It's just the fact that Cooper Flagg's been even a little bit better, and he plays in Dallas in a bigger market. He's going to win it. The Charlotte Hornets have been unbelievable. Miami's always kind of that wild card at the bottom of the Eastern Conference just because they've been there before. Tyler Harrell, Bam Adebayo, Norman Powell, they've all played in big games. And you got the Magic, who've been knocking on the door recently with Paolo Banchero. So kind of a long-winded way of saying, I think although the Thunder are the favorites, and they should be, and if you said, Sammy, you got to pick a team to win the NBA Finals, I would pick the Oklahoma City Thunder. I do think this NBA playoff picture might be a little bit more wide open than we're giving it credit for. The Western Conference, again, does feel like it's down to 3 teams. San Antonio has had Oklahoma City's number, but then we've never seen Wemby in the playoffs. So it's kind of hard for me to pick San Antonio to go to the NBA Finals when we haven't seen Wemby have to face a team that is making adjustments every night because they're playing the same team over and over again. That's going to be something to watch on that side. Denver's been there. They've won it. They're certainly a live dog, but they don't play a lot of defense. But on the Eastern Conference, you can make a case for certainly the top 4 teams in the Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, and Cavs. The Hawks have been playing tremendous basketball. The Raptors play fundamentally sound basketball. And then teams like Charlotte, Orlando, and even Philly have stars with them, like LaMelo, Tyrese Maxey, and Paolo Banchero. So I'm really excited for this NBA postseason because I don't think it's just a walk to the NBA Finals for the Oklahoma City Thunder like a lot of people expect it to. Brent, are you with me, or do you think this is kind of a clear-cut Thunder versus the field?
I think it's Thunder versus the field, but I don't think they're going to have an easy time getting through the West. I think whoever they face in the East, I think they're going to win in 5 games, but I think they're going to have a hard time if they have to play San Antonio. Like you said, the Lakers, who knows, what kind of shape they're going to be in, like I'm talking about LeBron because Luka's off getting his, European treatment. So who knows what's going on over there. So we'll see if he comes back and, after the first round. And like you said, AR is out until at least the finals, and they're not going to make it to the finals. So that means it's all going to be on LeBron. And I don't know. We'll see at his age if he can just still put a team on his shoulders for even if it's just for a round or so. But it's a lot of it's going to be all LeBron.
It is. It would certainly look the GOAT conversation is a conversation you can have any day on sports talk radio. And I've always been, even as a Laker fan, I'm a Michael guy. I consistently think Michael Jordan, there's something to be said for 6 for 6. And I'm not saying he passes Jordan by winning a playoff series, but if he wins a playoff series with this team, with this Laker roster, with no Doncic and no Reeves, I mean, it might be one of the most impressive feats in LeBron's career. And that's saying a lot because he has, done a lot throughout his career. But it does feel like, Brent, I was kicking around earlier with Fledge. If you had to play, so SGA is the odds-on favorite for MVP. Heavy MVP favorite. Cade Cunningham missed his shot because he got injured. We got Nikola Jokic down the odds a little bit. Luka gets hurt, and then Wemby gets hurt the last week of the season. So basically, it's all about wrapped up. SGA is winning the MVP. But if you had to pay one ticket, regardless of the price, to see one player in the NBA, who is it? Because Fletch and I got into this a little bit earlier. And although SGA and Jokic are amazing and they're just excellent players, I don't know that people would say SGA is the guy that people are stopping to go see, like it was Steph Curry or it was LeBron James or Kevin Durant, where he was like, we have to go see, or Giannis, we have to go see this guy play basketball because he's so transcendent. I don't know if it's because of the foul merchant stuff. I don't know if it's because he has such an excellent mid-range game and it's not sexy like Steph Curry throwing it up from the logo, or Anthony Edwards and his amazing dunks, or Luka's offense. But if you had to pick one player that you would pay regardless of the freight to go see in the NBA today, who is that for you, Brent?
First, I think SGA gets kind of a bad rap because Giannis got, labeled a foul merchant too, just because he got, went to the free throw line a lot. That's just his game. It's not his fault. But I'd say Wemby would be my answer, just because I don't think we've had a player that is just like a freak like he is since Shaq. Just that, someone that's his size, his agility, that can shoot from the outside, that can pretty much, remember we used to, Anu over Tatis's matrix slides. Wemby does like matrix dunks almost with his body because he doesn't have to jump that high. So just some of the contortions that he catches those alley-oops in and stuff. So easily my money I'd want to see Wemby.
Texas 70470, start your message with team. 70470, start your message with team. Who is that player that you're seeing in the NBA today that you're going regardless of the money to go see? I'm with you. I think SGA gets a bad rap. Like, it's unfair to SGA that he's just great at fundamentals and draws foul calls, and then all of a sudden people want to blast him, not give him credit. I mean, this guy's going to win back-to-back MVPs. He won the NBA championship last year. He's the odds-on favorite to win it again. But I don't think people would say him. I think if it was me, I think Anthony Edwards would be atop that list. I'm with you. Wemby's up there because of the freaking nature that he is and how just amazingly amazing offensively he is for his size. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Anthony Edwards just has swag. He's got it. He talks. Tyrese Halliburton, throwing up the choke in the Garden with Reggie Miller there against the Knicks. And then you got Luka, who when he's on, he talks. He's amazing offensively. There's something to be said for that. I think we were talking about face of the NBA. Like, think of guys over the years who've been faces of the NBA. Michael Jordan obviously talked. Larry and Magic talk, had the rivalry with each other. Kobe had that killer instinct. LeBron had the LeBron Steph rivalry. I think to be the face of the NBA, you have to have a guy who has a little edge of an Anthony Edwards, of a Tyrese Halliburton, of a Luka Doncic. All three of those players, people either really like or they don't like, because either one of those guys has sent their team home in the postseason, or they don't like the kind of the fact that they talk. I mean, Anthony Edwards chirps. He chirps, and it's fun for the league when you have that. Whereas SGA seems like he's a very measured guy, doesn't really talk a lot. Jokic doesn't really talk a lot, isn't out there chirping in the media. And I think that kind of plays into possible face of the league. You got to have somebody who was kind of out there publicly advocating for themselves, as well as Wemby. I mean, Wemby has advocated for the MVP award. It'll certainly be fun to watch. The NBA playoffs will make a star to possibly see who is kind of going to succeed the LeBron, Steph, and KD era. All right, again, coming up at 2:30, my guy Matt Devine from Devine Sports Gospel hopping on, talking some pods, reacting to Xander Bogaerts hitting the walk-off grand slam. We'll get to the lack of power from the team. Is it a concern for Matt? Excited to talk to him. But coming up next, we got a massive weekend in the fight world. So huge card in the UFC 327. Also, Tyson Fury is back boxing in the UK. We're going to get into some betting odds for those fights. And what does that mean going forward? What is the state of combat sports? Is Dana White changing that in the boxing scope? Coming up next on Going Long on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Welcome back to Going Long on Every Day, Monday through Friday, 2 to 3. Schaefer and Sliwa coming up next, starting at 3. Divine Sports Gospel. Matt Divine going to be hopping on with me in just about 10 minutes. But first, we got a weekend full of fights. So, boxing, Gypsy King, Tyson Fury back in the ring, taking on Arslanbek Makhmudov in the heavyweight division out in England. And the UFC also has a big card. UFC 327, Yuri Prohaska fighting Carlos Ulberg for the light heavyweight title that Alex Pereira voided when he went up to heavyweight. And it's an interesting time in combat sports because historically over the last 20 years, and especially going back, I mean, people in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, boxing was one of the biggest sports. I mean, it was up there with just about anything in the States, and certainly has fallen off in terms of popularity and become much more of a niche sport. In the UFC over the last 20, 25 years has been able to kind of rise because they've been giving people the fights they want to see. So many problems of boxing over the last 20 years, and a lot of it had to do with Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was always touting his 50-0, never having lost, and it kind of created this narrative in boxing, which was such a bummer in that we didn't get the fights we always wanted to see because guys were so scared of losing. They were so scared of losing the O and, quote, not becoming promotable, so they would take easier fights. They're taking fights against B-side level fighters that aren't true 50-50 fights, which are and personally, a big time fight. There are very few things in sports, and we don't get it a lot. It is when there is a mega fight, when there is a 50-50 fight going into it, I don't care if you don't like boxing or UFC, you go to a fight watching party, and there's very few things like it because you just pick a fighter and you're into it. And a true 50-50 fight is fun to see. We saw Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford. That was marketed because it was a true 50-50 fight going into it. Crawford dominated, but going into it, you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know if Crawford could move up a couple weight classes, or if Canelo still had, the fast twitchies, as Max Kellerman would say, to keep up. So Dana White, for those who aren't familiar, Dana White obviously has run the UFC and has now gotten into boxing, something called Zuffa Boxing. It's a boxing league that him and Turki Al-Sheikh, who is from Saudi Arabia, who has a bunch of money, who has funded a lot of these fights, has put on air or has made a boxing league to try to get all the fighters under one umbrella. Because the UFC over the last 20 years has had a majority, 90 to 95% of the top MMA fighters fought in the UFC. So there was no ducking anyone. If you're the champ, you're fighting the number one ranked contender. And if he's not available or she's not available, it's number 2 and number 3 and so forth. Whereas boxing has had problems with stars sitting on belts, way too many belts in boxing, and it gets confusing. There's multiple champs, there's 4 belts for each division, lineal champ. It's hard to digest. The UFC has done it right, where they have the champ and then ranked contenders 1 through 15. Now he's trying to get into boxing. He just signed Richardson Hitchens and Edgar Berlanga, who are 2 pretty good fighters in boxing, not elite level guys yet, but up and comers. And so on the co-main event of Tyson Fury tomorrow, Zuffa Boxing is promoting Conor Benn. Now Conor Benn is a fighter from the UK who is the son of Nigel Benn, was a big fighter in the 90s in the UK, a big star overseas. Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh shelled out $15 million for this fight tomorrow night. I will repeat that. $15 million for one fight against Regis Prograis. And a lot of people listening probably don't know who Conor Benn is outside of the diehard fight fans. So UFC fighters have gotten frustrated because the knock on the UFC the last 20 years has been that they have not gotten paid equally. Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira, that rematch was one of the most highly contested, highly sought after fights, rematches we've seen in the UFC over years. The rivalry between those two. I believe he made $3.5 million for that fight. Conor Benn's making 15 to fight on a co-main of Tyson Fury tomorrow night. So it's an interesting kind of crossroads at the time in boxing and UFC, because Dana White is trying to kind of bring boxing back to what it was. And boxing has been regaining popularity over the last couple of years. But because of that, the UFC is kind of lacking stars. We get great fights. Tomorrow night's going to be a great fight. Yuri Prohaska versus Carlos Ulberg. As a fight fan, I'm really stoked for it, for the light heavyweight championship. But Conor McGregor has aged out, hasn't fought in years. John Jones getting up there in age, late 30s. Israel Adesanya is riding a 4-fight losing streak. They signed Alex Pereira to an 8-fight deal, but he's 37, 38 years old. And Sugar Sean O'Malley was supposed to be the next star in the UFC, but he hasn't quite lived up to the dominance that we all thought he was when he was a rising contender at welterweight. So it's the UFC is lacking stars right now. And with Dana White focusing so much into boxing, you wonder how much, like, if we're going to see, this is why we see so many UFC fighters cross over from the UFC to boxing so they can get a payday. And now you're seeing guys like Jake Paul put on their own promotions, get former UFC fighters, Nate Diaz, guys like that, Ronda Rousey, and putting on their own events, and they're making a lot of money. So with Dana White putting so much into boxing and shipping these guys out, UFC fighters are getting frustrated, rightfully so, going, Israel Adesanya, I'm a way bigger star than Conor Ben is, especially domestically in the United States, except I'm making a fraction of what some of these boxers are making. So interesting time in boxing, the UFC. I actually have a boxing show on AM 570, 9 a.m. to 10 with my guy Colin Yee, not quite ringside, if anyone's more interested to the boxing deep dive. But be fun seeing Tyson Fury to retrying to kind of capture the heavyweight title tomorrow, kind of go on another path. And Prohaska and Oberg will be a banger for as long as it lasts, because those guys have heavy hands. But we'll be curious to see if UFC kind of keeps increasing popularity the next couple of years, if boxing can match that, if boxing can give us the fights we want to see with Dana White now in it, and then can the UFC find its next star that they can market a la Conor McGregor. All right, coming up next, Matt Devine, Divine Sports Gospel, one of the best, I mean, just online, social media, covering the pods. You all know his content. Go shoot him a follow. He's joining me next. Matt Devine coming up next on Going Long on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
I know you've been helpless now. I know. Upfield. Elevates. Strike one. First ball. Thank you.
Going long, St. Eagle Sports 760 live 2 to 3. Joining me right now, the man, you all know him, Matt Devine, Divine Sports Gospel. Matt, what's up, dude? How you doing?
What's going on, Sammy? You can hear me, right?
Sorry, say it one more time. I have my thing off.
You can hear me?
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, we can't hear you. What's going on here? All right, I might have you call in, Matt.
We good now?
Brent, can you hear Matt? No, okay. All right, Matt, I might have you call in. I might give you the number, all right?
Okay.
So we'll jump off the stream. We'll have him call in. Matt Devine will be joining us really quickly. Brent, if you want to send me the number real quick, I'll just shoot that to him. But the Padres, man. I mean, it's seeing Xander Bogaerts hit that walk-off last night. I mean, that was fantastic because, again, it was cool seeing him be able to have a signature moment for the Padres because he's gotten so much stuff over the years, and it's been rightfully so that he's been criticized because, again, he hasn't lived up to his contract, and a lot of the problems of this Padres team has been because he's been making so much money. And you point to it and go, with that money could go to better purposes. I mean, that money could go to, a fifth starting pitcher or another bat in the rotation or whatever. But it was cool seeing Xander Bogaerts be able to actually have a moment where he came through in the clutch. And I'll tell you another thing. It also puts a little bit more pressure on Fernando Tatis because it's great. Luis Campusano came through last night. We saw Xander Bogaerts come through. We've seen some of these, quote, unsung heroes have some success recently for the Padres. And that's what what I focused on in the offseason was, will they have enough starting pitching? And the starting pitching we looked at right there, and it was a big question mark. Brent, we got Matt? All right. Matt Devine had some technical difficulties on the stream. Matt Devine from Divine Sports Gospel joining us right now. Matt, what's up, dude? Sorry about that.
You're good, man. What's up, Sammy? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Are you on vacation in Hawaii right now? That's awesome, man. That's super cool. That's Hawaii's the best. I'm jealous. I saw your pictures out there. I'm curious before we get into the serious Padre talk. What were your thoughts of the City Connect jerseys? Because there's been a lot of mixed reaction over the last couple days. I don't have a problem with them, but they just look kind of boring. I guess anything they're trying to not go viral after the last City Connect jerseys. What was your thoughts on it?
I liked them, man. I thought they were cool, right? I mean, it's definitely an action thought to it. The people was like, growing up in San Diego, or so from the fans that are, from offense, man.
All right, sorry, Matt. Yeah, it's we're having some problems with the board. We're having some issues with the sound quality, so apologize for all that. We will get Matt, try to get back on here soon, but having some technical difficulties. But you heard him say it there. It is the City Connect jerseys are like there's been such a big deal about them, and they did apparently crazy sales yesterday. I mean, like through the roof, and everyone's going out to buy them. Understandably, they marketed it well, but we got Matt back. Okay, Matt, you back with us? There we go. Well, so you were a big fan of the City Connect jerseys.
Yeah, I like them, man. I like the Dino Muertos vibe. I think it's a cool jersey, and excited to see them playing it tonight.
So, what are your thoughts? Obviously, Xander Bogaerts last night, that was unbelievable. You know, the power wasn't there early in the game, but like, what do you make of Xander Bogaerts finally kind of having a quote seminal moment with the Pods?
It's great, man. I mean, dude, obviously, you know, he gets paid a lot of money. He hasn't been great, and so hopefully this is the year he kind of comes in. And I think Xander cares. I think he tries his best. Do I think he's overpaid? Absolutely, but at the same time, it's like, hey, if you can go and give us a 760, 770 OPS season, you know, 22 home runs, I think that's a fantastic year. And so he's hitting the ball hard. He was hitting the ball hard in spring training. If he keeps doing that, I think we're going to have the summer of Zan is going to be going on all season.
When is it time to worry about Fernando? Because they're not having a home run, hitting below 200 right now. It feels like everyone's kind of stepped up in his place, but it is getting to a point where the power just has to show up. When are you getting concerned about the lack of slug with this team, and specifically Fernando?
Yeah, slug has always been a concern, especially coming back to last year, right? We were 28th in slug. Underlying metrics, and I know a lot of people are like, that's nerd stuff. Why do people in baseball always talk about these numbers? But a lot of these numbers are pretty good predictors, right? And the Padres are expected OPS, expected average, and I think expected slug are all in like the top 5, but our actual numbers are not. So I truly believe sooner than later, it's going to kind of get to the fact that we're a top 10 or top 15 offense in baseball. On Fernando, obviously he probably isn't going to be the 2021 hitting 45 home runs a year guy. That being said, I still think he's a 30 home run a year guy, and I think he's off to a little slower start. There's a report that came out that he's hitting the ball a little deeper into the zone than he has been in the past. I think the big concern for him is he hits the ball super hard, but it's a lot of the time it's on the ground or it's to second base. If he can pull the ball a little bit more, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of success. I won't worry about Fernando just because I know the talent he has. Probably until May. If he doesn't have a home run until May, then I'll be like, there's. Right now, I think he's gonna be all right.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. So the back end of this rotation, we certainly made a lot, in the offseason. That was the kind of big talking point, is the worry about the pitching staff. German Marquez, nice last start against the Pirates. Buehler's going tonight, kind of got ate up in his last time out. Where do you see Matt Waldron or Griffin Canning when they're both healthy, kind of overtaking one of those guys in the rotation, or do you think so?
Absolutely. Sorry, Dan, I didn't mean to cut you off. Griffin Canning will 100% be in the rotation. There's no doubt in my mind. When it comes to Matt Waldron, he has been absolutely shoving in El Paso, which is like pitching on the moon. So I think Waldron deserves another shot. German Marquez impressed me in that last start against Pittsburgh. Back to the rotation, shockingly, hasn't been, Walker hasn't been great. I think Walker, if there's either German or Walker that's on the kind of cutting block when Griffin comes back, so far, I would say it's definitely Walker. He hasn't been able to get past, 4 innings, a couple strikeouts, which has been nice to see, but at the same time, it's like, hey, if you can only give me 3.5 innings, you're not going to be in my rotation. So very interested to see how he pitches tonight in front of a sold-out Petco Park. I think Walker, when he's on, has extreme potential to be, a pretty solid piece of the rotation. Obviously, injuries has made him go from, what we saw him in LA to what he is now. But I still think there's a shot, if he goes in there and he has a good start. I've been very impressed by our rotation so far. Randy Vasquez has been absolutely amazing. Michael King has been pitching well. And outside that first start, Nick Pivetta looks great. So it's like, if Griff can come back, and I like Griffin a lot. Mutual friends, I've hung out with him a few times. He's an awesome guy. If Griffin can come back and be the pitcher he was for that first half of the season in New York, I think our rotation is actually pretty strong.
I agree, especially the Canning part. I mean, I think people forget that this guy was like a top prospect for the Angels. And as bounced around a little bit, but it could really be something and could kind of be that ace card coming in later in the year for the Padres. What do you assess? I heard you on Padres Collective, by the way, with Schaefer and Kevin Acey. You guys sounded great. Love that podcast. What do you making of Craig Stammen so far early in this year? Like, just if you were to give him a letter grade, what kind of jumps out to you about Craig Stammen?
I'd say B minus, closer to a B. If you would have asked me a week and a half ago, I was maybe a D. But obviously the offense has not been great. I do think, like I said earlier, the expected numbers sooner than later, water finds its level. I think Craig is very open to change. I think especially early on, he's learning and he's kind of tinkering with lineups. He's tinkering with bullpen decisions. I think he. I don't know if let's say, I know a lot of people bring up Albert Pujols, right? Do you think, and this is a question for you, Sammy, do you think if Albert Pujols was the manager of this team, we'd be in a completely different spot right now, record-wise?
No, I don't think so. I think that, right, it feels like Albert Pujols is a big name, and it would have made it on ESPN, and PTI would have been talking about it in First Take, but it really is about who can control, like, kind of get respect to the players. And I don't know how you felt about this, but I love the fact that Manny Machado had a day off this week. Like, that shows me that Craig Stammen has the respect of some of the top guys in the locker room, whereas certainly last year with Mike Schilt didn't appear that way. And I was nervous of that when I heard all the players coming out being like, hey, we love Stammen, Tatis, Machado, but would they respect him as their manager? I was happy to see Machado kind of agree to an off day.
I couldn't agree more. And I also think Randy Knorr, I think Kevin mentioned this on Collective, and I've seen some tweets. Randy Knorr, the bench coach, has been helping out Craig a lot. He's he's been a coach for forever. So having that perspective, having Ruben is helping him out a lot. And like we said, right, it's like, hey, man, you win baseball games, you're the best manager of all time. You lose baseball games, everybody thinks you suck. So it really comes down to the team. I think the decisions that managers make in today's game is, obviously with Twitter and social media, it's over scrutinized. But it is also, there aren't a ton of decisions. So if you can keep the locker room, happy, wanting to play hard for Craig, wanting to play hard for the city, that's all I ask for from a manager.
Last question, Matt. So Fletch and I have avid debates about this. We have playing the Mariners next week. So the Vetter Cup, which I personally think is the most forced rivalry that we have in maybe all of sports. Where do you fall on the quote, the Vetter Cup?
It cracks me up. It's funny you say that. So my favorite story about the Vetter Cup is obviously Eddie Vedder, right? He grew up in San Diego. He starts Pearl Jam and moves up to Seattle, starts the band, and then starts Pearl Jam. So you got the Mariners and the Padres. Both teams have always been pretty known MLB franchises that have obviously never won the World Series. I think that aspect of it is cool, both West Coast, that stuff. The Vedder thing is extremely forced because he's a Cubs fan. So it's like we have
exactly. Shot the Alley Divine Cup. Hell yeah, man. Matt, you're the best, man. Go give him a follow. You all know him, Divine Sports Gospel. Matt Divine. Thank you so much for jumping on today, even on with the bachelor party going on in Hawaii. Of course, dude. Thank you so much. Matt Divine, the man there, Divine Sports Gospel. Again, go shoot him a follow. Doing great content, killing it on Potter's Collective with Kevin Acey and our very own John Schaefer. Speaking of John Schaefer, crossover time. John Schaefer and Alan Sleewood coming up next with me on Going Long, wrapping this thing up, heading into the weekend before Schaefer and Sleewood coming up next on the iHeartRadio app, live on San Diego Sports 760.
San Diego Sports.
You got
Sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
What's up, dude?
It's about 3.5.
If you don't mind, just disconnecting thereafter and then logging out of that computer too.
Perfect. Well, great to see you, man. Have a great weekend. Yeah, you're the best.
See you the next time.
Yep, you too. So what'd you say, Brent? Sorry, I was talking to someone. Okay. brother, for coming on. Always a blast.
Testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2. That's the testosterone booster, right? Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text EDGE.